All right, it's 29 minutes past. We are ready to resume. Please switch off your devices. Thank you.
Just for those present here and those viewing remotely, witness I wanted to have a discussion with Ms. Powe, the evidence leader, and that took quite some time. We are ready to proceed now.
Yes, Chair, we are.
Yes. Good morning, witness I.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Commissioners, during the break, first of all, we are thankful for the indulgence and the opportunity to consult. During that break, witness I indicated that he would like to do a short supplementary statement to address a few issues, and so we had to take that. We now beg your indulgence to hand up the supplementary statement so that we can start there this morning.
Thank you.
Witness I.
Yes, morning.
Witness I, can you confirm that you have a statement in front of you which is 4 pages?
Yes, I confirm.
And can you confirm that you prepared this supplementary statement to give further evidence this morning?
Yes, I confirm.
And can you go to the last page of the statement and confirm that that is your signature?
Yes, I confirm.
And can you confirm that the contents of the statement are true and correct?
Yes, I confirm.
And you also confirm that the initial at the foot of each page is yours.
I confirm, Commissioner.
Thank you, witness I. If we can then go through the statement, and can we proceed from paragraph 3?
Okay. Paragraph 3, preparing this statement to the testimony I made yesterday, particularly to deal with 2 aspects. Firstly, my relationship with Mr. Madlanga, and second, the status of the DPCI terms in particular. Relationship with Mr. Madlanga. Yesterday, I testified that I do not have a direct relationship with Mr. Madlanga and that any communication was facilitated by Captain Zungu. I did not disclose that in 2023, I stayed at Mr. Madlanga's family property in Mamelodi for a period of approximately 2 years.
When
The
you mean,
circumstances-
sorry, witness, when you say familial property, do you mean his parental home?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Continue.
The circumstances of my stay are as follows. On or about September 2023, there was an attempt on my life. I was residing in Mamelodi when a group of 4 men attacked me at my residence. I was inside the house when I heard a loud bang at the gate. I went outside with my wife, holding my state firearm. When I opened the gate, the group attacked me and hit my head with a metal object, resulting in a serious head injury. I was bleeding and incapacitated when they assaulted me, breaking my left hand and several fingers. They then stole my state-issued firearm and left me for dead. My wife called the police and an ambulance. I was transported to the nearest hospital where I was hospitalized for a period of about a week. The state firearm was later recovered by Tom's members. I heard that the attack was a hit and that the group was actually sent to kill me. I did not get any information regarding who may have sent the group to kill me. Fearing that my home had been compromised, I was trying to think of a solution to ensure that me and my family are safe. Captain Zungu had a similar fear. He warned that I was injured and that the group may come back and finish the job. He then suggested that I relocate temporarily and that he will arrange a house for me. He then took me to a house. I did not know at the time whose house it was. I only found out during the course of my stay that the property belonged to Mr. Madlanga. At the time, this did not concern me because I knew Mr. Madlanga as a businessman. During my stay, I did not meet or talk to Mr. Madlanga. This is consistent with what I testified yesterday. I have had no direct communication with Mr. Madlanga until I met him with Captain Zungu and Brigadier Mukwena as mentioned in my statement. I did not disclose this in my statement or during testimony because I didn't think it was significant because during that time, I did not talk, meet, or communicate in any way with Mr. Madlanga. However, yesterday after my testimony, I received a number of calls warning me that the seniors are not happy with my testimony. One of my members informed me that there is a plan to disclose my stay at Mr. Madlanga's house as a way of discrediting me. I considered the warning important and deemed it a threat to shut me up and or discredit me. I therefore thought it important to bring this issue to the Commission's attention and to disclose fully what happened during the time I resided at Mr. Madlanga's house. I maintain that I'm committed to cooperating with the Commission and doing so honestly. I hope that the Commission considers this in that light. Should I proceed?
Yes, you can.
Status of DPCI terms. In paragraph 7 of my statement, I listed a number of duties under terms. I have been informed by members that, as threatened by General Mboto, Tom's mandate has been completely dismantled. Members basically provide escort services to other units of DPCI. Members were also forced to surrender tactical equipment such as rifles. These are now kept in the office, and members have to sign them out when needed. This does not allow for immediate response by members for tactical operational matters. Ever since General Mboto and Brigadier Mukwena took over, overtime for Tom's members has been scrapped. This means that if members work overtime, they are not compensated. Lastly, because of the frustrations and suppression of members by Brigadier Mukwena, hardworking, dedicated members have either resigned or took transfers out of Tom's. I request the Commission to look further into the DPCI terms, in particular because this will have a negative effect on crime fighting efforts.
Thank you, Witness I.
Good morning, Witness I.
Morning, Commissioner.
Can you just clarify, it's paragraph D of, sorry, 5D. So let's say paragraph 5,
Yes.
subparagraph D. When you lived in this house in Mamelodi, I just want to be clear, were you living there with your family?
Yes, Commissioner.
And where was the Matlala family, the people who lived there before? Were they living there with you? Or were you given access to an empty house to live in?
I was given access to an empty house.
So Matlala's relatives were not there.
No.
And who told you that this is Mr. Matlala's house? And what were the circumstances that led to that disclosure being made to you?
The house at the back, there were rooms. There was someone living in the rooms, not in the house, at the outside rooms.
And that person who rented the back rooms told you that this is Matlala's family home?
Yes.
And then you discussed it with Captain Zungu?
Yes.
But you never met Mr. Matlala during that period? In other words, he never came
No.
to that house?
Never.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Witness I. Commissioners, I propose to go back to and revisit the statement and just ask a couple of questions to Witness I thematically. For this purpose, I'm going to ask that you have Stain Exhibit File 2 handy. I'm told it should have a pinkish flag. Oh. Yes. And then additionally, overnight, I asked the attorneys to add one more document to that file. It will be at the end, I suppose, of that file. It's BM6A, which is taken from Mr. Mohotsi's annexures. Witness I, can you confirm that you have your statement, the original statement, as well as file 2 in front of you?
Yes, I confirm.
All right, thank you. Just to begin with, you set out the number of training courses that you did during your time with the DPCI. Did you do any drug-related courses?
I attended a workshop for a period of a week in Bloemfontein, 2020.
Was this
SANAP workshop.
the sign-up workshop? And was this the only one?
Yes.
And when you were within the serious and organized crime unit between, you said from 2009, did you,
Yes.
did the investigations in that unit include drug-related investigations?
Yes.
And during that time, how many drug-related operations were you involved in?
A lot of them. But the recent ones, I could only name two of 2020 and 2021.
In 2020 and 2021, so the 2020-21, do you remember the 2021, how big was that bust or operation?
The 2021, it was a boat. It was a truck carrying a boat, which boat had 1 ton of cocaine.
And what was your role during that operation?
I was called in by my commander to come to the scene on N1. When I arrived there, I found members of SANAP head office and members of my office with a truck carrying a boat by the side. And they were taking out the contents from the boat, putting them on the ground, which was ultimately found to be cocaine, which amounted to 1 ton.
And what was your role during that operation?
I was requested to go to office, obtain SAP 13 book from my office and bring it to Pretoria West Training College, where the cis cocaine was booked at for safety.
So that consignment was booked at the training college and not at a police station?
I believe it was booked when the docket was opened at Little 10. It was booked there, but it was booked there on the 13 book and taken to physically the cocaine was taken to Pretoria West College.
Do you recall why it wasn't taken to the lab?
I'm not sure because I was not involved in too deep on that. As I explained that for me, being knowledgeable of the scene is when I was found, and when I got there, I found SANAP head office and my office members already there.
Oh, so your role was just to bring the book, basically, the SAP 13 book.
Yes.
All right. And then in 2021, do you recall what that operation was?
In 2021, as a team leader of SANAP, my members received a tip-off of a person who will be transporting drugs, bringing them to Pretoria. The SANAP team of Pretoria Organized Crime activated the information and intercepted the said person on N4. And when the person was intercepted, the truck was found to be delivering, I think it was fruits or veggies. And the driver alleged he does not know anything, he's just transporting the fruits and veggies. But through investigation, ultimately, the vehicle contents were checked and crystal meth was found inside his vehicle worth about 600,000. The suspect was arrested and detained at Boschkop, and through court proceedings, the driver ultimately changed his plea from not guilty and pleaded guilty, and he was sentenced to 7 years direct imprisonment.
All right, thank you, Witness I. And your role in this one?
Which one? This one of Boschkop?
Yes, the 2021 one.
No, it was me and my members, the SANAP members for Pretoria Organized Crime.
Yes, what was your role?
I was leading the team on that operation.
So the scene was yours and everything?
Yes.
All right, thank you. So you are familiar with the relevant framework, including the protocol on search, seizure, handling, processing, and disposal of illicit drugs, as well as the National Instruction on Crime Scene Management.
Yes.
And you use these documents, particularly in that 2021 operation.
Yes.
And you generally comply with these documents when executing operations.
Yes, Commissioner.
If I may, witness Witness I, the 2021 operation, when in 2021?
It was in March, Commissioner.
Okay, so it was before the Ayrton operation.
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Yes, Commissioner.
Witness, just to confirm, after the Ayrton one, while you were still with Senate, before you were transferred to Tom's, there wasn't another operation where you were involved in?
Not that I can recall of, Commissioner.
All right, thank you. Now, you testified yesterday that you had an understanding with other teams wherein they would call you if they encountered drug-related scenes. Was this an operational requirement, or was this something that you organized with other people?
No, it's something I informed other units within SAPS, other unit members whom I know.
So this was something that you did with people you know, not necessarily that this was an organized thing that was arranged operationally that you needed?
Yes.
All right. And then just to understand, generally, if you arrive at a scene and there are other police officers, take for example in Ayrton, you testified that DPCI Germiston was at the scene. How is a decision made about who gets to take over a scene?
I think the person who's responsible at the scene, he either continues leading the scene up until the scene is complete, or if he's not going to continue with the scene, relevant people who must take over the scene will take it over. But when I go to...
I'm not sure I understand.
DPCI.
Sorry, witness, I am not sure I understand. Remember, in the Ayrton instance, you testified that when you arrived, there were DPCI Germiston members at the scene.
Yes.
And so you say you went directly to the 3 officers that were initially there and got a briefing with the purpose of taking over the scene. So I'm just trying to understand, in a context where there are those 3 members who initially were at the scene, there's DPCI Germiston who also have jurisdiction over the scene, and then you come in with your members. Who gets to decide who takes over the scene?
Circumstances surrounding how the scene came about.
So the circumstances surrounding how the scene came about. In this instance, the scene came about because of information by Mr. Nku.
Perhaps let me ask this. What do you mean by that?
The person
Yes.
first in attending to the scene, as I explained earlier, will deal with the scene until completion when it is completed. But in this instance, because it was drugs, DPCI needs to be in charge. I believe that's the reason why it was invited.
Yes, I understand. You are saying your testimony is that DPCI would have then been in charge. When you arrived, DPCI was at the scene. That was your testimony.
Yeah, I arrived. When I asked the members, is DPCI Germiston and Joburg, they were just standing there. Nothing was being done in respect of the scene. They were just hanging around there on the scene. So as I arrived, Sergeant Pakola, who found me, took me to Warrant Officer Pakola.
Okay. I'm not sure I understand, but hopefully as we go through the events, we will get a better sense. In this...
Sorry, witness I, if there are prescripts that state who is to be the lead or take the lead with regard to the crime scene. What do those prescripts say? And if someone has already been in charge, what dictates who is to take over from that person? I'm not sure that I understand what you are saying. You say, I think more than once in your statement, that you expected to take over, or that you should have taken over. We want to have a clear idea as to what informs all of that. Can you try to be clear?
Okay, Commissioner, the reason for me to go to the scene with my member was because my member received a WhatsApp notification the previous day, the Thursday night, that there is 23 bags of drugs leaving Durban coming to Gauteng. And my member, the source was informing him in respect of the inquiry dealt with by our office.
Sorry, witness. We've read that. That explains.
Yes.
That explains why, in the end, you were at the scene. That's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm asking. A whole lot of other people would have had some basis to be at the scene. So that's not what I'm concerned with. What I want to know is what dictates who is to be in charge of the crime scene.
Personally, as I suspected the scene to be linked to my office inquiry, that's why I made the decision that I need to be briefed about everything. After then, I will take over, or I'll ask Warrant Officer Pakola to hand over the scene to me.
This may be unfair to you, but it sounds like you do not know what dictates who is to take charge of a crime scene. I've asked you twice. Ms. Bowe asked you at least once. It may have been more than once, and you have not given a clear answer. Must I take it that you do not know?
Maybe, Commissioner, I'm not getting clarity of the question posed. Maybe if it could be cleared for me, Commissioner.
I will repeat it for the third time now. It is this. Your statement indicates more than once that you are the one that ought to have taken over, or rather to have been in charge once you had arrived, to have been in charge of the crime scene. The question is, what dictates or what prescript says that such and such police officer is the one to be in charge of a crime scene? What law, what prescript?
No, I'm not knowledgeable, Commissioner.
Sorry?
I'm not knowledgeable of any.
You do not know?
Yes.
That was my suspicion. The very fact that this question had to be asked 4 times between Ms. Bowe and me. Thank you.
Okay.
If I can just follow up, because I had a similar question, maybe phrased slightly differently, but it's the same in substance. When you arrive at the Eroton scene and DPCI is already there, what authorizes you, coming from SANEP, being a SANEP team leader, to argue with General Kadwa and say it should be your scene because you have an inquiry number from 2020? Doesn't DPCI have jurisdiction or authority to deal with the scene when they are there? What authorizes you to say to them, I must take over the scene because I have an inquiry number from 2020? Is there anything that authorizes you?
Commissioner, the fact that there is existing investigation already that succumbed, that then the scene could be part of that investigation.
Leave it there because I take it that your answer to chair remains. You're not aware of any prescript. You're not aware of any document within SAPS or DPCI or SANEP. So when chair says prescript, he refers to an official document that regulates how things work at SAPS. You're not aware of any document or policy or instruction that says you must take over the scene.
It's mandate of DPCI that drug-related matters are dealt with by DPCI.
Yes. So your criticism of DPCI is unfair then if they have a mandate to deal with the matter.
Commissioner, I never criticized DPCI. I was discussing with General Khan. It was not criticism. I was discussing with him.
All right.
You do when you say that without an inquiry number, that's what Commissioner Kumalo has just referred to, and I will add, and without a case number, you just didn't understand why they would be doing all the things that they did. So according to you, they either should have had an inquiry number or a case number. And because they did not have any of those, then there was everything wrong with what they were doing.
Not entirely, Commissioner.
You say no. I actually have it. I'll show you in your statement. I've underlined it, and I have a question against it. It's just that your statement is not open, but I know when I open it, I will find what I'm talking about. You do say that.
I know, Commissioner.
You know that you do say. Sorry, you know that you do say that, eh? Don't you?
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Let me read it to you. It's in paragraph 19. The fourth line. You say, Major General Kadwa told me that Germiston DPCI will deal with the scene. And I asked on what case number or inquiry number, since there was none except the one from the Pretoria office. When I attempted to talk to Major General Kadwa about the inquiry file from my office, he essentially avoided talking to me by invoking the SAPS chain of command, and thus instructed me to rather address Brigadier Sekhobela instead of him directly.
Yes, Commissioner.
No, what we wanted to demonstrate is that you do say this, that they should either have an inquiry number or a case number. You've already agreed that you do say that. Yeah.
Yes. My discussion or my explanation to General Kwada in respect of that, I was bringing to his attention that Pretoria office already have an existing inquiry on same thing related to this, as there was also information which related to quantity which was suspected to come, and the one which was arrested by the members.
Thank you, Witness I. Now, I want us to deal with this inquiry because it seems to be the core basis upon which you say you asserted authority, and it's the basis upon which you then criticize other members that were there. You provided us with the cover page of the inquiry, and what we then did was to obtain the inquiry file itself. So if we can then go to page 276 of file 2, that stain exhibit file 2. 276. Now, In your explanation yesterday about what an inquiry is, you indicated that usually it's accompanied by a statement or a note of sorts that sets out the parameters of the inquiry. Is that correct?
Yes, Commissioner.
And so there is a statement, and that is at page 277.
Yes.
Now, if you have regard to that statement, the first thing to note is that in your statement you say it was around August 2020 when Sergeant Masoma opened an inquiry. Now, if you go to that statement and you'll see there it's a request to open an inquiry, you'll see it's not done by Sergeant Masoma. It's from a
Yes.
Sergeant Mokwebo. See that?
Yes, I see.
So that's paragraph 1 and even at the end. The second thing that you'll see in that explanation is that it first sets out the nature of this investigation. And it says there that this is a request, this is paragraph 5. This is a request to open inquiry for further investigations. Herein it is alleged that persons as mentioned in Annexure A committed the offense of dealing drugs heroin, also known as nyaupe. It goes on at paragraph 6 to say that there is a group of Tanzanian nationals who are currently residing in South Africa. They sell drugs, nyaupe, for personal gain and also own businesses around Gauteng, Free State, KwaZulu-Natal as a cover-up for their illegal dealings. I don't want to read the whole thing, but it also includes the people that they work with, including the fact that they rely on Uber drivers for transporting drugs. It also deals with how these drugs are brought into the country, and you will note that they come in, or the allegation was that they come in from Pakistan via Mozambique. They're transported into the country through different Southern African borders, in particular, mostly Manguzi, KZN, Komatipoort, Mpumalanga, and Bait Bridge in Limpopo. And then on the next page, it lists the targets. What you will note about this is, one, apart from the fact that the Eritrean drugs were, and what is described in this inquiry is an investigation into drugs, the type of drugs are very different. Secondly, the modus operandi is very different. This is transported through the borders of other countries. The targets are also very different. And on my reading of at least this note that summarizes what was to be investigated, it doesn't seem similar to the case or inquiry that you are talking about. Do you have a comment on that?
The only comment I'll make, Commissioner, is that information was received from a source who confirmed the package to be related to what was investigated by our office. And the state by Mukwebo, it was made by Mukwebo, but the inquiry was open to be investigated and assigned to Masoma.
Related how? Related how? This is about Pakistan, this is about different drugs and so on. This, the source, Pakistan, and through Mozambique and the other places on the east coast of our country. We are talking about something that is alleged to have come from Brazil here, and totally different drugs. So how do you say this was related to what you had been investigating already? Can you explain that?
Commissioner, the fact that the information what is alleged happened to be similar to what was happening
You said
in
related.
Everton.
Don't keep changing. You said related. And I understood related to mean connected. Now you're shifting and saying similar. Please explain yourself.
I will say it's related by the fact that information received is similar to that one of Everton, of 23 Bags Commission.
I don't want to be rude. I almost said so what. I will not say it. You see, the distinct impression that I get is that you wanted to use the inquiry you were already involved in as a foothold for you to go to Eratin, and getting to Eratin, then leapfrogging everyone else who was there to then say, because I already have an inquiry, I'm not even suggesting that that would have entitled you to take charge of the crime scene. But for you to then say, because I already have an inquiry that is related to what is happening here, I should take charge of the crime scene. That is what you wanted to do. That's the distinct impression I have. And yet it's clear from the facts that what you were investigating already had nothing to do whatsoever with with the drug bust at Eratin. It had nothing to do whatsoever. You may have gotten information from the same source, but that doesn't make the two the same. Your comment?
No comment, Commissioner.
Do you accept what I say? Do you accept what I'm suggesting to you?
Pardon, Commissioner?
Do you accept what I am suggesting to you?
I hear that, Commissioner.
Do you accept it?
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Can I just raise another issue about this? You say to us in your statement that you left your office relying on Masoma, that this was the tip-off related to an open inquiry. But when you arrive at the scene in Erot, so you know what the inquiry is about, that Masoma falls under that inquiry number, different drugs, as has been pointed out to you now. When you arrive at the scene and you find that it is in fact cocaine, surely you know it has nothing to do with this inquiry number, different drug altogether. You get information, it came off a ship in a container. You get all of those details. You can't reasonably at that point still have thought this has anything to do with the Masoma tip-off, or more directly has anything to do with your inquiry number. You now know it's a completely different drug than the one that is covered by that inquiry. Why do you at that point still take the posture that this is your inquiry, this is your scene? Because now you know it's a completely different drug, completely different mode of getting it into this country. It came from Brazil in a ship, it doesn't come from Mozambique and Pakistan. Why do you insist it's still yours at that point?
Commissioner, by then I didn't know how it came. That came about later on.
Well, you tell us in your statement that you were taken to Warrant Officer Pakula. So you arrive with Sergeant Pakula. You know there's DPCI, Germiston and Johannesburg who got there before you. You don't speak to them. You go to Pakula of the National Intervention Investigation Unit, in fact. You go to him, he briefs you about the scene. So at that point, unless you tell us that well, you didn't ask for details, then you must explain what the briefing was about with Pakula. On the assumption that Pakula told you in that short briefing, this is what we are dealing with. We found, in fact, you do describe, you said bags fell off, bags of cocaine fell off, and they put them in the van. So Pakula does tell you what they have happened upon. At that point, surely, you know different drug completely and therefore has nothing to do with your inquiry number. And the question is, with that kind of briefing, which has to be what he told you, we got a tip-off that there are drugs, cocaine coming up here. This is what we found. Pakula must have told you that when he gave you the first briefing. At that point, why do you still insist this is your scene? And this is the same inquiry number.
Commissioner, Pakula on the briefing, he briefed me about the driver and the fact that he's waiting for photographer, and I also questioned why the bags were out of the truck. I'll say that was the beginning of the briefing. It's when it was interjected by seeing the general from CI coming.
Well, you also do say that you spoke to Mashaba. So I'm struggling to understand then what briefing did you get about these drugs? If you're speaking to Sergeant Pakula, you're speaking to Warrant Officer Pakula, you're speaking to Warrant Officer Mohane, you're speaking to Chief Mashaba, you're on the scene, you speak to all four of them. How in discussing with all of those four people, would you still suspect that this has anything to do with your inquiry? Then what exactly were you discussing with them? Must be the question then.
No, I was not, Commissioner, maybe I don't know the understanding. I didn't discuss with all four of them. As I arrived, I only spoke with Pakola, the warrant, and it's when the scene I withdrew after the general came in from intelligence. Speaking with Mashaba, it was after when intention to arrest them was brought. I only spoke with him then, not when I arrived, Commissioner.
You spoke to the driver and he told you that this come from port. The driver would have told you that because you tell us in 1331, I was briefed as follows, the driver was transporting the drugs. So at that point, you would have been informed that they were being transported from where? And the point, even on this limited issue, the point I'm raising with you is that, but at this point where you're told about the driver having driven to Ereton, you are given the story. He collected, he drove, he stopped at Yellow Jersey, and then he's here now. With all of that information, my question is, how do you still insist that this is has anything to do with your inquiry number? Without even asking, well, what's in there? If you didn't ask that question, then you would have been the most irrational police officer on the scene to say, these are my drugs, or they relate to my inquiry, when you haven't asked what's there, or where does this come from? Those kind of basic questions. And I at this stage at least, I'm not accepting that you did not ask those questions. That would have informed you that maybe this is not, in fact, my inquiry number and I should stay out of it. Do you want to comment?
No, Commissioner, no comment.
Yeah, thank you.
Can I just understand this? The statement that Advocate Bowe has referred you to on page 277, had you seen it before you went to Aroton? Had you seen this statement before the day?
It's a 2020 statement, Commissioner.
Yes, that's the one I'm asking you about. Had you seen it before you went to Aroton in July 2021?
Yes, Commissioner.
So you knew that it related to Nyaupe?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
One other observation, sorry, Ms. Paul. One other observation, and it's a quick observation. This statement that you've been referred to of the statement that you've just been referred to now, it's accompanied by the contents of an investigation diary. And on a quick look of this from the beginning up to July 2021, there doesn't seem to be any reference whatsoever to Masoma. When one looks at the signatures, they seem to be signatures of people, none of whom appears, I'm not an expert in signatures, but I see Mohotsi and all sorts of other names. None of them seems to be Masoma. And so when you say he was investigating in this inquiry, it was allocated to him because that's what you're saying. You say after the inquiry was opened by Mukwevo, then Masoma was appointed to conduct the investigation. Where do we see that in the investigation diary? On a quick look, I don't see him. And I must confess that I have had a quick look at this, and I may have missed it. But even on that quick look, he doesn't seem to feature here, which would suggest he may well have. If that is so, then perhaps it's a misrepresentation to say this was allocated to him even to investigate, and therefore justify his saying that the Aroton drugs, he believed that they belonged to this file. Witness I.
Yes, Commissioner.
Yes, you hear what I'm saying. I've had a quick look at the investigation diary. Masoma's name doesn't seem to appear anywhere, and yet you say to us he was appointed to investigate under this inquiry number. Maybe let me ask you a question. Is it wrong to expect that his name would feature in the investigation diary somewhere that shows that he's the investigating officer here?
I'm saying that, Commissioner.
I'm saying, we should be seeing it in the diary, right? I would see it in the diary that Masoma was the investigating officer. No? Witness I.
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay, let me say this to you. We have now had evidence about the Port Shepstone drug bust. We have seen the investigation diary. It contains the names of the people that were the investigators in that diary, and under that inquiry, from the beginning, from day one, we have names of who were the investigating diary, the investigating officers, even as it changed. Here, Masoma doesn't appear as the investigator, and I'm saying to you, then surely it cannot be that he's the investigator and his name doesn't appear in the diary, which suggests he was not the investigating officer in this diary. That's the suggestion I'm making to you, that the absence of his name anywhere in the many pages of the investigating of this diary suggests he was in fact not the appointed investigator. Isn't that a fair observation to make? Witness, I'm going to take it that you agree with me that it's a fair observation to make that if he were the investigator, his name would reflect in the diary. Instead, other people's names appear, not his. So I'm putting to you that, in fact, he misled you, or you are misleading us when you say he was appointed the investigator. Otherwise, we would see it in the diary. And your inability to answer or to comment on what I'm putting to you, I say to you, I'm going to accept it as you agreeing with me that it is misleading by him or you that he was the appointed investigator under this inquiry.
Commissioner, I will say by inquiry register, by the office, the appointed person was him. I was looking at the signatures here of the member who was signing here. And it seems like, it looks like it's Mukwebo's signature, as it is the person who's always with him. It looks like Masoma never made any entry. Though in the inquiry register by the office, he is the appointed inquiry investigator.
All right, thank you, witness.
Witness, I want us to deal with sort of your reliance. I know Chair put to you that you used it to leapfrog yourself so that you can take over the investigation. I'm of the view that it's worse than that, that rather you conspired with the first three to legitimize their operation because you knew that they had no basis to be there. But for me to demonstrate this to you, I'm going to walk you through it. Let's start with what you say at paragraph 11 in relation to who informed you about this operation. If we go, you testified yesterday that it was Sergeant Pakula of K9 unit who contacted you and told you that he was called to address a scene regarding a truck suspected of transporting 23 bags of drugs in the Johannesburg area. Now, I want us to go to Sergeant Pakula's statement, and for this, we will have to go to the exhibit file, the one that has a docket and CAN DC. If we can go to page 408.
What's written on the spine, Ms. Boy?
It says exhibit file, Boyson's case, and the case number, docket, and CAN disciplinary. Should be the heaviest one. All right. Witness, I could just confirm once you found it.
Please.
Yes, I found it.
Page 408. You will see there, it's a statement that was taken by IPID, and you'll see there that that's the statement of a Andrew Pakula. In particular, I want us to go to paragraph 3. Oh, my apologies. Let's just start at paragraph 2. I'm just going to read through it quite quickly. At paragraph 2, he says, on same day, I telephonically received information from Warrant Officer Pakula from National Investigative Unit, National Office, requesting our assistance with narcotic dog concerning a container transporting narcotics from Durban Harbour. Sergeant Sape immediately contacted our unit commander, Lieutenant Colonel Duplessis, asked for permission to assist Warrant Officer Pakula, and permission was granted. We then departed to said address On our way, we requested Warrant Officer Pakula to send location, which he informed us he will send location when he arrives at the scene. After some few minutes, Warrant Officer Pakula sent location on my WhatsApp. He further asked if I still have Lieutenant Colonel Witness I's numbers from DPCI in Pretoria and asked me to also subpoena Witness I.
You should just auto-correct things like the supin there.
Yes, I'm going to go with summon or tell. Witness I, as the container, is a duplicate of his inquiry file, of which I did inform Witness I and promised to attend. Did you follow those two paragraphs, Witness I?
Yes.
So on his version, he doesn't say anything about having told you about the scene and the 23 bags. In fact, what he says rather is that his brother, Warrant Officer Pakula, called him and told him to bring the narcotic dogs to the scene. And he himself wasn't at the scene, because he then says that he shared the location after he arrived. And it is Warrant Officer Pakula who asks him to share the location with you. And interestingly there, he notes that he was informed by Warrant Officer Pakula that the container is a duplicate of the inquiry you are investigating. This to me suggests that rather there was a call between you and Warrant Officer Pakule. And whether it was you who made the suggestion to use the inquiry or him, you then decided that you will use this inquiry to legitimize their presence at that scene. Do you have any comment to that?
No, Commissioner, the comment I'll make is that I never knew Warrant Officer Pakula up until that day. The only person I knew was Sergeant Pakula and Sapi.
And so are you suggesting there that Sergeant Pakula is lying in his recollection of the events?
Maybe the facts he present are not detailed as they should be, because I didn't know Warrant Officer Pakula. And if Warrant Officer Pakula knew me, I don't know on which basis, because I only knew Sergeant Pakula.
Witness I, maybe then let me tell you what you've said about this situation. For this, I need us to go to the stain file 2. If we can just go to page 203. Yes, 203. Maybe just to note, this is a recording of the meeting that took place between yourself, a colonel from Crime Intelligence, and Mr. Mokhotsi, the Houghton meeting. Now we'll deal with the meeting in detail and go through what transpired there. But for purposes of the point we're dealing with, if we go to page 203, are you there, Witness I?
Yes.
This is a transcript of the recording that was taken by one of the participants of this meeting. You'll recall even in your statement you noted that you learned later that the meeting was recorded. Is that correct?
Yes.
So this is a transcript that was produced by DPCI. And, oh goodness. If you go to just about the middle of the page, where it says, man 2, all right, talk with me then. Maybe we start at man 1. Right in the middle of the page, it says, man 1, it's the true reflection of what transpired, but let me give you a glimpse into what I penned. Can you see that?
Yes.
Now, I'm just going to go through it quickly. Now, you see, from my reading of this, man 1 was you.
Yes. Oh, yeah, continue. Maybe you are about to deal with what I wanted to raise.
All right. Man 1 appears to have been you.
Do you confirm that, witness I, are you man 1 there when you read this and in accordance with your own recollection? Are you man 1?
Yes, Commissioner.
And on my reading, man 2 appears to have been the crime intelligence officer. From your reading, can you confirm that?
Yes.
And man 3 appears to be Mr. Mahotsi.
Yes.
Now, when you go from that middle of the page, right, you'll see there, you say, it's the true reflection of what transpired, but let me give you a glimpse into what I penned. Man 2 says, all right, talk with me then. Man 1, which is you, says, it's the truth, ne? It's not mentioned in my statement. Even the witnesses, they're not going to mention it. It's the truth, the real truth. But the real truth, I got it after the incident, after all these things. Man 2 says, yeah. You then say, what was happening with those guys, they wanted to, inaudible, while they wanted to do that, when things now come to the open, and it says inaudible speaking in Sutu. Man 3 then says, but for you to be hijacked, where was it coming from? Man 1, you say Durban. Man 3, from Durban until the inaudible. Man 1, all of us were involved. Man 3 is inaudible. Man 1, you say, I arrived. Okay, you know what happened. I arrived, ne? Man 2 says, when I arrived, this is you now. He said I needed to be briefed. While I was still being briefed, inaudible arrived. I immediately got there, inaudible arrived. When I got there, within 3 minutes, inaudible arrived. From the context, it appears to have been General Khan. Then Man 3 says, that's when they legitimized the operation. You say, Man 3 says, when was the operation legitimized after? And then it says inaudible, or they found them. And then it says man 1, yeah, man 3, all right. You go to the next page, man 1. After a couple of months after, I remember the guys, they were hitting inaudible. They now came to open, and when it came to open, they were fast in thinking. They legitimized things as if they were inaudible. They made calls and all that. They always called me being called. I legitimized the operation in a sense. At organized crime, I was heading somewhere inaudible, so they contacted me. Hey man, your things are here. Now, after that, it starts talking about where was Kado, which I suspect is where was Kadwa. But what it appears to me is that you were explaining to the Jew gentleman that you are called to legitimize these operations. And then one more reference in this is at page 205. Now, this is when you are discussing what to do to stop General Khan's hearing. And there was a suggestion that a letter be written to the minister. And again, in the middle of the page, you'll see where man 3 says, actually, let's start earlier, where you say, it's just the second entry. Man 3 says, now I'm saying the promotion you're talking about, it doesn't need for us to get Libya to do it. I think we need to pull proper strings. You say, Man 3 says, to pull proper strings, you can take these men down, these people. You can take them down alone. Man 1, you say, I can. Man 3 says, you. Man 1, you say, me. Man 3 says, yeah, you have to take them down. We can get the minister inaudible tonight or tomorrow. And this, what we have just alluded, we will make it official, then there's no hearing. You then say the story of and then Man 3 says, then there is no hearing because we know the only thing you cannot mention is that they asked you to come. They didn't say you'd come, but they say you were misled to say this inquiry is for this, whereas it is not. It was used to legitimize, and you then respond and say legitimize. And so, from this discussion, to my mind, it appears that what you were saying to them is that you use this inquiry to legitimize the operation. And when a scheme was being concocted to approach the minister, the only thing you were to exclude was the fact that you participated or used this inquiry to legitimize the 3 officers' presence. I know that was very long, but do you follow what I'm saying?
Yes, and can I give an explanation to that, Commissioner?
Yes, you can give an explanation.
As I stated in my statement, that the meeting I had with the CI guy and Brown, I did suspect that I'm being recorded and that I'll play along with whatever they are doing. And the comments I made or the explanation I made of legitimizing is what I was informed by General Herba when he consulted with me. Remember, General Herba did investigation of General Kadwa and the DPCI members. When I consulted with him, the explanation, what I'm speaking of here, is the explanation he gave me that from his investigation, he suspects that I was being misled and used in using the inquiry by these members.
Witness, I'm not sure I follow your explanation. So are you saying that when you met with General Gerber and he told you his suspicions regarding that you were perhaps being used, you then took that story and recounted it at the meeting?
Yes.
To what end? For what purpose?
No, as I suspected that, remember when I got to the scene, immediately when I found out that this is the CI guy, I knew the CI guy reports to General Khan. So I needed to give them what will please them. Because I knew immediately when I saw him that I knew that he's reporting to General Khan. And as I said that I needed to play along, I needed to give them what it will please them. That's why when the responder was giving, I was narrating. I didn't tell him that it's what General Herba was suspecting. I just told him as if it's my recollection.
We will deal with this recording in detail, but you will note that in this recording or your conversations with the two gentlemen, it is actually you who start speaking about the story, and you offer it to them. It is not you being asked, and you then portray
Commissioner-
that as the true account. Now, if you consider
Commissioner-
that, oh, my apologies, yes?
Commissioner, before we go further, the recording, this transcript, as I just needed, before we continue with it, I just needed to clarify that I doubt is the full disclosure of what was recorded. I suspect some of the things has been erased or not been put in. As some of the things indicated, doesn't involve full disclosure of the meeting we had. I'll say the recording or when it was sent to be transcribed, what was sent was already contaminated.
But you don't deny telling them this and representing it as the truth.
Yes.
And when you consider this representation or this version alongside what Sergeant Pakula says, isn't it reasonable for me to deduce that that was actually the real plan? Is that you had a conversation with Warrant Officer Pakula, you needed to legitimize the three's presence, and this is the document that you used?
No, Commissioner. That can be proved with my call records. I didn't know him and I never communicated with him. Even on the same day or before. I only knew him on the same day.
And thereafter you proceeded to talk to him?
I communicated with him. I think it was when they were released from prison.
All right, thank you, Witness I. Now, let's continue with your statement. Yesterday, I think it was Commissioner Baloyi who asked you why you needed to tell Sergeant Pakula to bring a narcotic dog. You said you were informing him because he needed to know that he must bring a narcotic dog. Just to note that even in... my apologies.
The reason I asked him to bring a narcotics dog, sometimes I meet him, you find that he doesn't have a dog with him. So I needed to confirm that the dog is there. Because I met him, I think, twice or 3 times during the course of the days. And I found him, he didn't have a dog with him.
Are you saying you had met Sergeant Pakula in a narcotics operation and he didn't have a dog with him? During an operation of narcotics?
Yes, some time back, yes.
So what would he be doing there if he's K9 and he's at an operation that involves narcotics and he doesn't have a dog? What then is his role there? Would have been his role?
When I met him without a dog, he was not on an operation.
Yes.
He was around.
Yes. Yes, that's a clarification I wanted you to make. That wherever you had met him before, it had nothing to do with a narcotics operation. He didn't have and he didn't have his dog because it had nothing to do with a narcotics operation. And
yes, Commissioner.
And so the question is still relevant then. that I asked yesterday, that he tells you he's been called to a narcotics scene or operation, and he's going there. That's how he calls you. He's going there to an operation. Why would it be necessary, or would you consider it necessary, to tell a member of K9 who says, I've been called to a narcotics operation, that he should bring a dog with him?
I was confirming that, Commissioner.
You were just confirming. You didn't think he knows that already. By the time he calls you, he knows what's happening at the scene, and that therefore he must bring the dog. You didn't think that?
No, that's why I was confirming with him, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Witness, just to place it on record that if you have regard to Sergeant Pakula's statement, he does state clearly that on the day in question, they were in possession of a narcotic dog, and when Warrant Officer Pakula called, he requested their assistance using the narcotic dog and to bring the dog. And that's at paragraph 1 and 2 of that statement at page 408. So
Yes.
I don't see how you needed to tell him that.
Okay.
Then let's continue with your
I hear,
statement.
Commissioner.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Now, if we continue with your statement, you then say, let's go to paragraph 12. Actually, we have dealt with the inquiry. The only thing I'd want to know there is who was the source that was talking to Sergeant Masoma?
I didn't ask him his source. I didn't ask him the name of the source.
Did you ask him anything about the source, really?
No, when he showed me the message, I asked, where does the message come from? He didn't tell me by mouth that there's this information. He showed me a WhatsApp message. And I read through the message and I asked, the message comes from whom? He said, my source in Durban.
Okay. So you don't know who that source is. Then at paragraph 13, you say that before leaving to the scene, you never reported to anyone as a senior officer. You were scared or had a fear of information being compromised at a higher level. It is, if the information was positive and related to our inquiry, the plan was to report after the arrest. Now, I want to put it to you that it's not true that you didn't report, rather that you did report, but what you reported was incorrect or you misrepresented what you were going to do.
No, Commissioner. It's
that-
beforehand. Can I explain?
All right, you can explain.
Before Pakula phoned me, Sergeant Pakula phoned me, I was with Colonel Siobe. I told her I got a family thing. I needed to go to High Court on some personal issues of my son for custody things. And then she said, okay, no, it's fine. But before I could leave, it's when I received this call from Sergeant Pakola. It's not after then.
So your version is that it's not you told Colonel Siobe that you were going to the
Yes.
High Court. And what time was that?
It should really have been earlier, past 8 to 9.
And when you told her that you're going to the High Court, was that true? You had a High Court family thing that morning?
Yeah, I had some custody issue I needed to attend to. Not at the court. I was supposed to go meet someone who will represent me on the custody issue.
So you were not going to court, you were going to meet a representative?
Yes, yes.
And that's what you told us?
And then after it's when I received a call from Sergeant Pakul.
Okay.
Witness, I just want to take you to what your commanding officer said in this regard. If we can go to the exhibit file, Boyson's case, the one that has a docket and Khan disciplinary, at page 173. Are you there?
Yes?
You'll see that she speaks about what you said at paragraph 3 of her statement. In particular, she says, my apologies, just for context. She received a call from Colonel Bok inquiring about your whereabouts. At the time, Colonel Bok, who was your commanding officer, was off sick, and she was standing in. And now she was giving an explanation to Colonel Bok, who was asking about your whereabouts. So, in particular, she said to him, my response to that was that this is the end of paragraph 2. My response to that was that I know nothing about such, that the two officers, yourself and Masuma, were busy with. Oh my goodness, I read the wrong sentence. My response to that was that I know nothing about such operation and that both members didn't inform me of any operational duties that they will be part of or information that they had been working on the day in question. When it goes on to say at paragraph 3, I further informed that the only thing I know about you was that you told her that you were rushing to the High Court to obtain some documents. Can you see that?
Yes.
So do you have a
Yes.
comment to that? Because she seems to have labored under the impression that you went to the High Court to collect some documents.
No, maybe that was the misunderstanding because I told her about my custody issue that I needed to sort things out.
Did you say Johannesburg High Court to her?
Yes, Commissioner?
Because you see, it makes a difference going to Joburg versus going to the Pretoria High Court will account for the time when you are missing. And she will labor under the belief that the reason you took so long is because you are in the Joburg High Court. Because if you are in the Pretoria High Court, it's literally 15 minutes from the office. Why would she think you are in the Joburg High Court if that's not what you told her?
No, the person I was supposed to meet the person in Joburg High Court.
All right, thank you, witness I. Now, just so that we also understand your reluctance to tell your commanding officer, yesterday you testified in broad terms that you had a fear or you were scared of the information being compromised at a high level. When we asked for clarity, you indicated that initially you said conflict of interest, or that if info gets out, people may be tipped off. Just to understand,
Yes.
and then Commissioner Baloyi asked you who your commanding officers were, and you indicated it was Unit Commander Colonel Bok. Now, do you have any experience of your commanding officers compromising investigations?
No, not my commanding office. When I report to my commanding office, he needs to report to provincial office higher up. And where is reporting higher up is where it's being compromised.
Now, do you have experience of an incident where you reported to your commanding officer who then reported to a provincial office and the investigation was then compromised?
I can't recall exact case numbers, but planned operations to be done, you find that we plan on doing something and then ultimately it fails because it has been reported beforehand, or it doesn't materialize because it's reported beforehand.
I mean, the first distinction
That's
is...
why my stance mostly is that we execute the operation. Once arrest has been made, it's reported then when we have been successful.
In this case, who is we? Because you leave Pretoria, it's just you and Masoma, and you've had a call from Sergeant Pakula of K9. You are going to a scene. You've been given a scene, so we know that the truck has stopped by the time you leave Pretoria. The truck has been stopped. It's in Egerton at a specific location. That's where you are headed to. You do not summon anyone to come and assist you with the operation. Who is we? We are going to execute and then report afterwards. Who are you going to execute this with?
No. Commissioner, when we left, it was not for execution, was to check and verify. It's like it was information checking. But when we got there, it was explained that it is the same quantity as Masoma received the message. And while Warrant Officer Pakula was briefing me, what normally happens after he has briefed me, it's when everything will be dealt with, asking who have you called, who's outstanding, that could be called. The role players needed, necessary.
So if it is to go and verify and you arrive at the scene, what makes you say this is your drugs under your inquiry number 2020, if you are still going to be verifying? Because at that point,
I need to verify
you see,
if it's
sorry,
really bad.
let me explain. You leave Pretoria, you now say you didn't know that this is your inquiry number case. You were going to verify. That's why you are without people. You haven't summoned anyone to go and do an operation with you. You get there, you speak only to Pakula, and the next thing you say is, this is my scene. When Khan arrives, you've decided this is my scene, when in fact you haven't verified that there's drugs that, or these black bags. At that point, it's just black bags on the back of a van that are there, and you've been told they come from Durban. You haven't verified anything. So we are back at which point are you in a position to assert that this is your scene? If you are still going to be, you go there and arrive to verify. And I want to suggest to you that you knew exactly what it was. That's why you were able to assert yourself and say, this is my sin. It's because you've been told what's in there. Do you want to comment? Do you have any
No,
comments?
Commissioner.
Maybe let me ask you. Okay, thank you.
Witness I, before we step off this issue, I just want to understand, what do you understand to be the utility of reporting to your commanding officer when you go out for an operation, or as you say, a verification exercise?
Pardon? The question is?
What do you understand to be the reason why an officer must report to a commanding officer before they undertake an operation or go anywhere?
So they could know whereabouts of the men.
Why do you think it's important for them to know the whereabouts of a member?
No, so they could account where the member is.
Yes, and now do you see the difficulties when officers go to do operations or verification exercises without telling their commanding officers?
Yes.
And
Is there anything that prevented you from telling, I think it's Brigadier Siobe, Colonel Siobe, or whoever was your immediate superior at that time that you reported to say to them, I'm out of the office, I'm following a lead, without disclosing what it is? Why could you not do that? If you accept that the reason that someone else in your office and your superior should know where you are is so that your movements are accounted for, why could you not, and why did you not say, I'm following on a lead and I'll report to you later? Witness.
Commissioner, I believe by that status, my take was that I'll report once I know everything what has happened, when I get where I've been asked to come.
Yeah, but you've told us that, so I'm asking the question, why? Why did you not say to Colonel Siobe that you informed? She was the acting unit commander, I think you say. You told her, I'm going to Johannesburg High Court, so you know that when you have disappeared, she knows you to be in the Johannesburg High Court. I'm asking you, why did you not say to her, I'm now following on a lead and I will come back to report to you once I know what's going on?
I should have done that, Commissioner.
Thank you.
and then, Witness I, in your exchange with Commissioner Baloyi, you said that you needed to verify because you then confirmed the quantity of the drugs once you were there. But this is different from what you said in your statement. There you said that you knew the quantity before, and it is this quantity that led you to believe that it's the same inquiry. So it's either you didn't know, and so there was no reason why you would have believed that it's part of the inquiry, or you did know, and then you was just trying to conceal the fact that you wanted to go there and take over the investigation. It's one of the two, it can't be both.
No, I was informed of the quantity, and I needed to confirm on when I get there that what I was told is right. It's as it is.
Witness, it's fine. I hear your answer. Then I want us to,
Can I just ask, you got there and you found DPCI members from Germiston and Johannesburg. Why did you not talk to them? It's their jurisdiction. Johannesburg, Egerton is in Johannesburg. Why did you not go and speak to them? You're still verifying. You arrive on the scene, you don't know yet that these are your drugs that belong to your inquiry number. Why do you not speak to members of the DPCI?
Commissioner, the people who called me to the scene, I had to get a briefing first, and after then I'll relate with my other colleagues of Johannesburg and Germiston. I needed to get a briefing first of what is really happening. After then I relate or communicate with my fellow colleagues of Germiston and Joburg.
But you were not called by Pakula, by Warrant Officer Pakula, and that's who you go and speak to. You do say in your statement that when you arrived, you found DPCI Johannesburg and
Yes.
and Germiston. So you knew when you saw them when you arrived that your colleagues are there. You then go to Pakula, who's not the person that called you to the scene, Warrant Officer Pakula. I'm sorry, it doesn't make sense that you would do that unless you were quite deliberate and calculated in your decision of who to speak to. You left Pretoria, and I want to suggest this to you for comment. You left Pretoria knowing with information of what the bust is about. You made a decision not to inform the acting unit commander that you are going to Egerton, because at that time you do have the specifics of where this operation is unfolding. You know that they are at a particular location. And so even your concern about where it will go out to others and there will be problems doesn't quite hold, because at this point you've been told that the truck is parked at this particular location. You don't tell your superior who's in the office, because you actually are hiding from her for wrong reasons, not for the reasons you give us. For the wrong reasons, you're hiding from her where in fact you are going. And you do so knowing that she's under the impression that you've gone somewhere else, to the High Court, because that's what you told her. You arrive at the scene, you find DPCI who have control, jurisdictional control over the scene. You don't speak to them. You instead go to speak to someone who's not anywhere close to why you are here, Pakula. You allow a K9 member to take you to Pakula, and then you get, immediately after you're talking to Pakula, you haven't verified anything. You say, this is my scene. You're taking charge. I want to suggest to you that all of that conduct up to this point is calculated conduct, because you came knowing that you are coming here to an operation that you are coming to legitimize, as Ms. Bowe says, to legitimize an operation that is unaccounted for on the books. It's nowhere on the books, this operation, at that point when you arrive. Do you want to comment?
No comment, Commissioner.
Thank you.
I want to suggest to you, Witness I, that the reason for you going to the Egerton scene, precisely what Commissioner Baloyi says, there was an unlawful operation by Makhano and Pakula and Mashaba, and they were interrupted by subs who were dispatched there by 10-111. And your presence there and your use of this 2020 inquiry number was to legitimize what was otherwise an unlawful operation to steal the drugs. You going there and presenting this number and saying you were called was a cover, so that they can say, no, this is a lawful police operation. Even SANEB is here, it has been called. But you were called after the boys and subs or the subs who were dispatched by 10-111 had interrupted what Makano and Mashaba were doing. And you knew going there that the purpose of you going there was to go legitimize an unlawful operation. And that's why you did not tell your superiors. I know I said a mouthful, but do you understand what I said?
Yeah, I hear, Commissioner, because that's what was also explained to me by General Heber, which I was not aware.
Because it doesn't explain your conduct. Even if you were aware, it doesn't explain why you would mislead your superiors. As Commissioner Baloyi said, you could have said to them, I'm following up on an inquiry that we have already opened. I can't give you the details yet. I will give you the details when I come back. They would not have leaked that information because it is meaningless, but at least they know what you are doing and what you are attending to. But saying to them that you are going to the High Court on a personal matter when you knew that that was not true, even if the call came after you had told your superior, nothing stopped you before leaving to say to them, I'm no longer going to the High Court. I'm now following up on something we are busy with that is related to our inquiries. Do you follow that?
Yeah, I follow, Commissioner.
Thank you. And you can comment if you want, or if it's clear to you. I'm going to leave it at that.
Witness, on this topic of who you decided to talk to, I just want us to dig a little deeper. Now, Commissioner Baloyi asked you about DPCI. Now, we know from testimony that there were multiple other units at the scene. This included Boyson's police, it included members of the flying squad, and various others, including, I think there was an officer record, so I'm not even sure where that officer is from. Why didn't you speak to all the other officers?
No, I spoke with Colonel JC afterwards.
Yes, that was after when you were trying to justify your presence. I'm saying because all of these units were there before you, and some of them had been at the scene for a considerable amount of time. Why didn't you talk to them? Witness I?
Yes, Commissioner.
Do you need me to repeat the question, or you just don't have an answer?
Yes. Yes, repeat the question.
The question is, these officers, at least Boyson's and Flying Squad, were at the scene for a considerable amount of time, and yet them you didn't speak to as well. Why is that?
Remember when I got to the scene, Sergeant Pakula took me, as I arrived, Sergeant Pakula came in, took me to Warrant Officer Pakula.
Yes.
And then the other was whom I did see, I spoke with them afterwards, like Colonel JC.
Yes, but those you were talking to because you were trying to justify your presence at the scene, not to understand the scene. But it's okay, let's deal with who you did talk to. Now, if you look at that composition of the team, surely it should have aroused some suspicion. The first person you speak to is the K9 unit who takes you to Sergeant Pakula, who is a member of Nino based in Pretoria. He's there accompanied by Sergeant Mahani. He's a desk policeman from Zonke Sizwe. And the third person there is Chief Mashaba, who is a traffic officer. And those were the three people you got the briefing from, who by all accounts
No, but
should not have been there. You were saying no?
got a briefing from Pakola only. He's the one who was briefing me. Warrant Officer Pakola.
The point still stands. He's equally an unlikely suspect to be there.
Yes, Commissioner?
All right. And then let's then deal with the other things that would have been immediately apparent to you. The first is the scene wasn't cordoned off. At least that's the evidence that has been led. So you arrive, there are policemen at the scene, and I guess Warrant Officer Pakula is in charge of the scene, but you see that the scene isn't cordoned off. Does that not raise alarm bells when you arrive?
Yes.
And what do you do about that?
That was going to be addressed once I've been briefed in full that the place needs to be cordoned off. Even with the bags in a police baggie, as I ask, why are they inside the baggie, not the truck? And the responder got, once briefing has been done, I was going to request whoever who moved them to make a statement to that effect on why was it moved from the truck to the baggie. But all those things were going to be done after full briefing has been done.
And you didn't think it important that the first thing you do is to secure the scene, so that while you're being briefed, you at least know that the scene is secure?
No, I needed to get full briefing before I could act on anything.
You needed a full briefing even for things you could see are obviously wrong.
Yeah, the wrong things, Commissioner, were going to be highlighted to those members once the briefing has been done in full.
Then the second thing is that key role players were not there. Did that not also raise suspicion?
No, the only thing I was informed was that a photographer has been phoned.
And you
And
took that at
that's why I
face...
was,
Oh, my apologies. Continue.
and that's why I needed to know if other people have been called upon. That's why I was awaiting other.
And who did you have in mind in that regard? You say
That contacting
other people.
FSL.
And besides FSL?
Because the dog was already there on the scene. Getting details of the driver who has been placed under arrest and questioning him.
No. Surely you can't be referring to the driver when you talk about other people who you expected to still come. The driver was there, so you're not talking about the driver. Tell us about the other people.
As I mentioned, FSL and media license and the photographer LCRC, they said it's already been called.
Witness I, you get there and you've got drugs that are in a van, which we know is unmarked. You don't think anything is wrong with that? When they tell you that...
That's why I asked.
Yes, and I see you asked, and they told you that they opened the truck and the bags fell from the truck. That's why they were kept on the police bakkie. They fell from the truck, not into the bakkie. You didn't see anything wrong with that. They took those drugs that fell out of the truck, they took them and they put them in a bakkie, in an unmarked bakkie that belongs to Zonke Zizwe police station, driven by Mahane, who is a desk-bound person. At that point, you didn't see anything wrong with that?
No, I knew it was wrong. That's why I mentioned earlier that statement was going to be needed on reason why it was put in a police bag.
When I say you didn't see anything wrong with that, I'm asking you didn't think that conduct is suspicious?
No, I took it, he didn't know how to handle a crime scene, because you don't move things which are exhibit on the matter.
When you say...
leave them as they are.
Yes. When you say he didn't know how to handle a crime scene, who? Pakula, Warrant Officer Pakula, because you say he was in charge when you got there. So you decided that Warrant Officer Pakula doesn't know how to handle a crime scene. That's why these things are on the bakkie.
No, when I asked why were they on a bakkie, he informed me that he was told they fell from a bakkie. Whoever told him they fell from a bakkie is the one I refer, not knowing how to handle a crime scene.
Thank you.
Okay, can I ask you this? In paragraph 23 of your statement on page 8, you describe yourself as an experienced investigator. And then you say,
yes,
you say what your observations at the scene were, you set them out. Why do you not set out that your observations at the scene were that Mahane, Pakula, and Mashaba did wrong things that don't comply with the prescripts? Why do you not mention that in your statement? Forget the reason, they may have been inexperienced, but why do you not in your statement mention that these are the things that they did that were wrong? Why do you not mention them?
I don't know, Commissioner, why I didn't mention that. Because I believe I mentioned the actions that happens afterwards then.
No, but I'm asking about...
Not what
I'm asking you about your observations. You are an experienced investigator. You arrive at the scene and you see that 27 bags are loaded onto a van. And you've confirmed to Commissioner Baloyi that that is not correct. Why do you not mention in your statement that what you observed there, which Mahano, Pakula, and Mashaba were doing, were incorrect and not in accordance with the prescripts?
No, I don't know, Commissioner, why I didn't mention that.
You see, this is what leads to the suspicion that you were going there to cover up for them. Because the next thing you say is you abuse the DPCI generals and the CI generals of rank abuse of power. That's what you say. You say, my observations at the scene indicated potential abuse of power and rank, and the reasons remain unclear. You are completely silent on the improper conduct of Mahane, Pakula, and Mashaba. In fact, you are the one who advises them to go to IPID and open a case. And that's how they end up opening a case. But you say nothing about their conduct. And thus you create the impression that their conduct was proper. It's the people who interfered with what they were doing that were acting improperly. And the question is why? Why do you do that?
Maybe I should have stipulated, Commissioner, that also their conduct was improper by removing the bags. I didn't state it in my statement. I should have stated it.
You say in paragraph 24 that you were concerned that the actions of the generals appeared to be an effort to protect both the driver of the truck found with the drugs and to obscure the origin of the vehicle and its contents. Are you saying this because you were suspecting the driver to be guilty of an offense? If so, what was the basis of your suspicion?
Yes, with experience, Commissioner, driver of trucks always they say they don't know anything of the contents of the truck they are driving, but whereas they are knowledgeable and they know what they are transporting.
This system
The
of
drivers
this rip-on, rip-off system of consigning or sending drugs to a consignee, do you know exactly how it works, or don't you?
I have a slight idea, Commissioner.
I'm sorry?
I have a slight idea.
A slight idea. So are you saying in that system drivers are always aware of what's happening? I'm not saying they I'm not saying they don't. I just want to know from you whether you are saying they are always aware.
Most of them, Commissioner.
And how do
They
you
are
know
aware.
how do you know this? Because I think one question before you said that you know very little. I'm paraphrasing, of course. So how do you know that most of them do know that they are actually delivering, or the truck they are driving is transporting drugs being sent or consigned through the rip-on, rip-off system? How do you know that? That most of them, underline most, are aware.
Yeah, in that they pretend as if they are not knowledgeable, whereas they are.
Now that reasoning is what secateurs, because I want to know how you say that, especially that you are saying most of them know. Now you are just saying they pretend. That's not answering the question. Why and how? Why do you say that? How do you know? My sense is that you don't have much experience with the rip-on, rip-off system. So how do you say, am I wrong that you don't have much experience with it?
Yes, Commissioner.
You do not.
Yes.
Now, how can you say that most of the drivers in this system, all manner of conveyance, do know, that is the drivers do know? How do you say that? You've not answered that question yet. Bear in mind that you say that you have very little experience of this.
Considering previous scene where the driver, like the container which was arrested in 2020, the drivers, they did know what the contents of what they had on the boat.
They did not know. They knew. And this is one.
Yes.
And this is one incident in 2020. This is one incident in 2020.
Yes.
And you say most drivers from one incident. Is that how you draw your inference?
Or maybe I should not have mentioned most. I
So
should have
only-
said some.
Oh, no, not even some. All you know is this one driver. Correct? Is that correct, witness I?
Yes, Commissioner.
Thank you. Let's take the lunch adjournment and come back at 25 to...
(14:34). We are ready to resume. Please switch off your devices. Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Bowen.
Thank you, Chair. Witness I,
Yes.
can we quickly go to paragraph 16 of your statement?
Yes.
Now, you testified, and at paragraph 16 onwards, you mount quite an attack on what General Khan did when he got to the sea. But if regard is had to his complete explanation, he engaged with everyone at the scene prior to making decisions or issuing instructions, as it were. And I want us to just quickly have regard to what he did once he got to the scene. If we can go to his statement, it's page 63.
Which one of your files, Ms. Bowen?
Chair, embarrassingly, I wrote the page number, not the bundle. But I suspect $190. Yes, thank you, Commissioner Kumar. Witness I, if we can just go to the exhibit file, which has the docket and Khan disciplinary at page 190.
Which page?
Page 100 and, it starts at page 190, but if we can go to page 191, because that's where I think he starts dealing with what transpired. And then just before I read what he has to say, I just want to...
I thought you are speaking Witness I. Have you found the page?
Yes.
All right. Just before dealing with what he says at page 191, I just wanted to confirm a few things. You indicated that Major General Khan didn't introduce himself to the members. Is that correct?
Yes.
And did you engage with him at all?
No, I never spoke with him for the day.
All right.
I only spoke with General.
Okay. Great. Let's now go to what he has to say. Let's start at paragraph 7. Just briefly, he indicates that on his arrival, he saw many police cars at the scene, including that he saw a truck and a black Nissan buggy parked next to the truck, fully loaded with black bags. He then went to the group of police officers who were at the scene and engaged with them. He got a briefing from Highway Patrol. He then engaged the risk manager of Scania. Then you'll see at paragraph 8, he then approached the members who were standing next to the buggy. And then he says there at paragraph 8 that he engaged with you. Can you see that?
Yes.
And you say that this never happened.
Yeah, this never happened. It's a lie, paragraph 8 by the general.
All right, let's test if that's a lie. Now, he indicates there that he asked you why you were there, and you indicated to him that this was your operation and that you were from DPCI Pretoria. He then says he asked who your commanding officer was, and you informed him that it was Colonel Bok. And then you gave him Colonel Bok's number, and he called Colonel Bok. Now...
Yeah, the whole paragraph of paragraph 8 is a lie. People who were on the scene next to the buggy can confirm that. The whole paragraph 8 is non-existent.
All right.
Can I just ask, how would he have known that your immediate superior is Colonel Bok? You remember we read earlier the statement of Colonel Siobe, who says that
Yes.
who says that Colonel Bok approached her, came to her and asked about you, whether
Yes.
she knows about an operation. How would Lieutenant Major General Khan have known about who your superior is if that did not come from you?
Because General Kadwa was there, he's my provincial head, and Brigadier Schobela was also there, she's my provincial commander. He will have gotten those details from the provincial commander or the provincial head.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Witness
But he would not have known that you would later make allegations that you and him never interacted at the scene. He would not have known that. So...
Yes.
Why would this become an issue at all?
I think it needs to be verified with all the people who were on the scene. It could be confirmed that he never spoke with me. It's me who asked other people who he was.
Maybe let me put it differently. This aspect about the two of you having interacted or not having interacted, unless you tell me otherwise, it looks fairly innocuous. So I do not understand why there should be an issue around it. Are you able, why there is? Are you able to tell?
I don't know. I'm also surprised, Commissioner. I'm wondering.
I guess you would say I should ask the same question of him as well. if it's something innocuous, why the two of you are differing on it. Yes, yes,
Yes.
Ms. Bo.
Chair, perhaps if we consider the evidence of Colonel Bok as a third party,
Yeah.
I think it will show why witness I's version is improbable. If we go to, we're in the same file, luckily, page 170.
Yes, Ms. Bo.
Witness I, can I take you to page 170, paragraph 2?
Yes.
You'll see there, it's a statement from Colonel Bok. And without reading
Yes.
the entire thing, he indicates that at 11:55, he received a call from Major General Khan asking if you had reported to him and whether you had a narcotic investigation in that unit. He responded in the affirmative,
Yes.
and he then asked him, he then indicated to him that he was going to arrest you for defeating the course of justice. Now, this is at 11:55, and I just want to place it on record that we have heard evidence that the more senior officials from DPCI arrived a little later. And this is evident if you look at the next page, at page 171 at paragraph 5. There, Colonel Bok indicates that he got a missed call from the provincial head of Major General Kadwa at 12:25, and that was the missed call, to which Colonel Bok called him back, and basically General Kadwa was requesting the same information that was requested by General Khan. So if you are to be believed, it would be nonsensical for both generals to call one after the other, if indeed it was that Major General Khan learned from Major General Kadwa of your position. Then only one would have called. So both the time lapse and the calling of the two generals, at least to me, suggests that Major General Khan called first and pursuant to a conversation with you.
No, Commissioner, I still maintain I never had a conversation with General Khan, and all the people on the scene could confirm to that effect.
And then, if we go back to General Khan's statement, it's page 190.
Yes.
You will see he indicates that after his engagement with you and having called Colonel Bok, he went on to call each one of the commanding officers of the other people at the scene to ascertain whether or not they had operations. And there he learned that none of them had told their commanding officers. That's at paragraph 9 on page 192. Thereafter, it's when he decided that, look, this needs further investigation, and handed over the scene to Major General Kadwa. Now, it appears to me that at least if regard is had to Major General Khan's version, he exercised more caution and reasonableness in that he engaged everyone at the scene before making a determination. And even when he considered the actions and just the fact that those three officers were present, he could see there was something wrong. Yet you don't seem to share that view. What's your comment to that?
The fact that he never contacted me and he alleged he spoke with me, that's what I don't agree with.
And other than that, do you accept that his conduct was reasonable?
From investigative point of view, no. Because he's a general of crime intelligence, all the things he did were supposed to be done by General Card.
Yet you equally indict General Kara for having received a briefing from him so that he can assign members to do the investigation.
Pardon?
I'm saying that you say those things ought to have been done by General Kadwa, yet you indict him for having been briefed by Major General Khan and then assigning people to deal with that investigation.
No, Commissioner. The thing is, General Khan came to the scene and took over the scene and gave instructions. As a crime intelligence general, to start with, he was not supposed to be on scene. That's why I'm saying those things were supposed to be done by General Kadwa, who heads investigation unit.
All right. The evidence that has been put before this commission is actually that the arrests were all made by Colonel Sebolana, who was then a captain. So Major General Khan didn't arrest anyone.
But he gave instructions.
He gave instructions to who?
He was speaking aloud. I don't know to whom specifically he was instructing. Maybe those members of organized crime, Jimmy Stan and Joburg.
Yes, and the version of the organized crime, Jemiston, is that they took over the scene and they effected the arrests, they collected the exhibits. So they took over the scene and conducted all of those things that you accuse General Khan of having done.
Can we just, this witness may not be aware. The directors of the company, Yellow Jersey Logistics, which is the company that was transporting this container to Scania in Eraton, they say, and you see that in 145 of the same bundle, they say Mashaba and Mukhane introduced themselves as crime intelligence. Were you aware of that?
No, I'm not, Commissioner.
Now, can you blame a crime intelligence general for going to the scene when he is told that there are people who are impersonating crime intelligence and conducting a drug bust in Ireton? Now that you know those facts, can you blame a crime intelligence general for going to a crime scene if there's information received that there are people impersonating crime intelligence who are conducting a drug operation?
No, Commissioner.
So you will withdraw the statement that he was not supposed to be there?
Okay, Commissioner.
Please look at page 145, paragraph 3.
Yeah, I'm having a look at it.
This is the statement of the operations director at Yellow Jersey. You see, he says while he was at home preparing to go to work, Hardas, their intermodal director, gave him a call stating that there are people from crime intelligence here asking to open the container, and he asked if that was normal. Do you see that?
Yeah, I see it, Commissioner.
And those people are Mokhano and Mashaba. And we know that Mashaba is not from crime intelligence. He's a traffic officer from Citibank. And we know that, Mashaba, and we know that Mokhano is a SIMA analyst based in Zonkizizwe. He's not crime intelligence. Even if he was crime intelligence, he's not operational. He's desk-based. So he would have no business asking to open containers. Now that you know those facts, do you still say it was improper for a crime intelligence general to be called to the scene to see what's going on?
No, I was not aware of this.
Thank you.
Just on the back of that, now that you know you've had this, which you say you were not aware of, that Mahano and Mashaba misrepresented themselves as crime intelligence officers, you know that now. Do you accept that that alone is suspicious, makes their conduct suspicious?
Yes, Commissioner.
You accept that?
Yes, Commissioner.
Okay. Thank you.
Witness, I'm going to move on quickly to, I think it's the end of paragraph 22 of your statement, where you talk
Paragraph?
about 22. But
Yes.
the end of paragraph 22 on page 8, where you indicate
Yes.
that you learned from Sergeant Pakula that the quantities of exhibits collected from the scene were different, and instead the block of bricks were less by 100. Evidence has been presented to this commission that that is untrue. And in fact, what happened was that there were more bricks that ultimately were reported to FSL than what was recorded on the scene. And the difference was 15 blocks.
Yeah, I learned that from here, Commissioner, yes.
Right, so that's also incorrect. Now, if we move on, and on the back of the discussions you had with both Commissioners Baloyi and Kumalo, do you accept that the indictment that you launch on Generals Kadwa and Khan, where you say on the day in question it's evident that those individuals were acting above the law, that that is an unfair criticism on the two generals?
Yeah, having learned what now is presented, yes, I agree, Commissioner.
All right, and then if we can go to paragraph 28 of your statement, where you deal with the investigation by IPID into the Ayrton drug bust. Want you in particular to go to paragraph 28, where you say you were told that Major General Harper concluded that Generals Khan and Kadwa were doing their job. Just for you to note that the Commission has received evidence that Major General Harper was not investigating General Khan. That report looked into the conduct of just the DPCI officers.
Oh, yes.
So that's also untrue. And then, one other topic I want to touch on with you is related to...
Oh, sorry, Ms. Bowe. Witness I don't know if this was covered. Can you just explain to me how the two generals had defeated the ends of justice?
Firstly, with General Khan, as is now highlighted to me, his presence, how did it come about, which I was not aware of. But
are you making that preface to then say now you accept that there was no defeating of the ends of justice?
Yeah, after now being highlighted of some of the facts pointed out to me.
So you no longer say they defeated the ends of justice?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Yes, Ms. Bowen.
All right, now I want us to deal with the events around the meeting of 29 January 2025 at page 10 of your statement.
Yes.
In particular, there you testified that you received a call, or at least you were informed by Captain Zungu that
Yes.
individuals would like to have a meeting with you. And
Yes.
when I asked you what role did Mr. Matlala play in this exercise, you indicated that he didn't play a direct role. Instead, you were called by Captain Zungu. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I just want us to go to page, it's CJC 220, page 226 of the file 2 of the stain exhibits.
CJC.
Just go to page 226 of file 2.
Yes.
All right. Now, there you will see a conversation between Mr. Mokgotsi and Mr. Matlala.
Yes.
And you'll see
Yes.
there that Mr. Mokgotsi gives a report back after the meeting that he had with you. And you'll see at the top of the page, the second entry there on the 28th of Jan 2025, Mr. Mokgotsi texts and says, actually, that's just the day before, it says Boso. But if you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chat 6 on the 29th of January 2025, you'll see that
Yes.
Mr. Mokgotsi provides feedback to Mr. Matlala and indicates to him that the meeting was positive, to which Mr.
Page, Commissioner.
226, just after halfway through the page.
Make sure that he's got the right bundle.
Oh,
because
yes,
we are
yes.
moving between bundles.
Do you have it in front
Yes.
of you?
Yeah, I see it.
Yes, so do you see there where he says the meeting was positive?
Yes.
To which Mr. Matlala responds and says, is he willing to help you guys? And Mokgotsi responds and says, I just wish he could help with a statement, and says, I think he needs cash. And if you go to the following page, on page 227, Mr. Matlala indicates and says, okay, arrange with Khan to give him cash if the information he has is worth it. Now, Mr. Mokgotsi testified before this commission and indicated that it was Mr. Matlala who made that introduction between you and Mr. Mokgotsi. You were Mr. Matlala's guy. What do you have to say to that?
Mr. Matlala says he did what?
Mr. Mokgotsi says that you were Mr. Matlala's guy.
You introduced him, Mr. Mokgotsi, to Mr. Matlala. That was Mr. Mokgotsi's testimony.
No, I will say it's a lie because I never spoke with Mr. Matlala, only spoke with Captain Zungu for the day. Even my reason going there.
How did you know that the meeting that you're being invited to was facilitated by Mr. Matlala if you had nothing to do with him? If you didn't know him, you didn't speak to him, how are you able to say that he facilitated this meeting?
Because that's what Captain Zungu informed me.
And why would Captain Zungu assume you know Mr. Matlala to the point that you would agree to go to a meeting facilitated by Mr. Matlala? What did Zungu know about your relationship with Matlala?
No, he knew I was a witness on General Khan's matter.
Yeah, that doesn't explain how Mr. Matlala comes in. You see, when Captain Zungu approaches you and says, Mr. Matlala is facilitating or has asked or is arranging that you have a meeting with Crime Intelligence Officer and Mr. Mkhotsi, he has to have a reason to believe that you would go to that meeting if he mentions to you that it's a meeting arranged by Matlala. Otherwise, his conduct doesn't make sense. If he has no basis to think that mentioning Mr. Matlala, a meeting arranged by Mr. Matlala, you would, if he didn't have a reason to think you would go.
Commissioner, it was not mentioned of the people I'm having a meeting with. It was only mentioned it's in relation with the disciplinary hearing of General Khan.
So,
I mean, like communication for the day commissioners can be verified by itemized billing of the day that the person I spoke to was Captain Zungu only and no one else.
yes. Even if we accept that, and let's say for my discussion with you, I accept that Captain Zungu is the one that contacted you. He would have told you that the meeting is facilitated by Mr. Matlala, right? That's why you say it in your statement.
Yes.
And then my question is, if you had nothing to do with Mr. Matlala and Captain Zungu had no reason to believe that you have anything or to even think that you have anything to do with Mr. Matlala, why would he think that if he tells you that the meeting is facilitated by Mr. Matlala, you would attend? Why would he think that?
Commissioner, it's not him thinking that. I believe what led me to go to the meeting was the fact that I was informed it's in relation to me being a witness on General Khan's matter. It entails General Khan. The fact that I was informed it entails General Khan, that's what led me to go. If maybe I was told, go attend a meeting, it's in relation to some other guy, just name a person, I wouldn't have gone. What asked me to go was that it's in relation with General Khan, and I needed to get more info on what is it in respect of General Khan.
Yes.
Since I'm a witness on his matter.
Yes, the emphasis of my question is on Mr. Matlala, not what the meeting was about. It's on it being mentioned to you that the meeting is facilitated by Mr. Matlala. It seems a random mention to you if it doesn't make a difference. If you didn't know Mr. Matlala, you had nothing to do with him, and Captain Zungu had no reason to think that you have anything to do with Mr. Matlala at all, that he would mention to you that it's facilitated by Mr. Matlala just doesn't make sense. It comes out of nowhere. And I want to suggest to you that he mentioned it because he knows that you have something to do with Mr. Matlala. That's why he tells you it is a meeting arranged by Mr. Madlanga. It's because he knows that you know who Madlanga is, you have something to do with it. And you will go to a meeting when he tells you that Mr. Madlanga is involved with arranging that meeting. So what I'm putting to you is I think you're not being frank with us in your representing an arm's length relationship with Mr. Madlanga. You actually do indeed, as at that time of the meeting, had a much closer interaction with him than what you are representing to us. Do you want to comment?
No, I don't have any comment, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Witness, I get a sense that you have forgotten what you said in your supplementary statement. Did you not say
Yes.
in your supplementary statement that from around August, September 2023, Zungu arranged for you to go live in Matlala's family house for a period of 2 years?
Yes. Yes.
So why do you, in your response to Commissioner Baloyi, do you not mention that there was that relationship? My suspicion, and this is an inference that I would like to draw, but to be fair to you, I'd like to give you an opportunity to respond. From the facts you have given us, it seems to us that you were grateful to Mr. Madlanga for having provided you security and accommodation for 2 years, and now he wanted a favor from you, and you were willing to do a favor from him. You are willing to do a favor for him, rather.
No, I was not willing, as I did not, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Witness I, I'd like for us to then have a look at what happens at this meeting that was facilitated by Mr. Madlanga.
Maybe before you move on, you took us to those WhatsApp messages. Maybe let's ask the question, even if the answer may seem obvious.
Okay.
At page 227, witness I, of that bundle that started at page 226. In fact, let's start at 226. Mr. Mokgotsi says to Mr. Madlanga, I think he needs cash. And we know from Mr. Mokgotsi's evidence that this discussion was about you. Your meeting, that you want cash to be able to assist, if you're going to assist them. Then Mr. Madlanga, that is Dlamini there. We know Dlamini is Mr. Madlanga from the evidence. Dlamini says, okay, arrange with Khan to give him cash if the information he has is worth it. Did you receive any payment from about relating to the case of Mr. Khan, of General Khan?
No, Commissioner, earlier on, you remember, I mentioned a fact that transcripts of the recording have been contaminated with, as they don't reflect truly what has happened. I never received any cash. I was awaiting the CI guy and Brown to contact me to bring the back as they promised, so I could arrest them. But the facts of those, they don't reflect it. That's why I say the recording was contaminated. Only what is displayed is what benefits them.
And maybe just to confirm, where there is reference to a bag in the transcript, is that a reference to money?
Yeah, yes,
Okay.
when they informed me.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ms. Buff.
Witness I, if we can then turn to, maybe perhaps before we deal with the transcript, just to note at paragraph 220, no, page 220 of the same bundle, maybe 220.
Yes?
Just to contextualize this was an application to get verbal authorization to run a section 252A entrapment. Remember yesterday you explained to us that this is one of your
Yes.
responsibilities now at TOMS. You will
Yes.
see at paragraph 2 of that document that there's a description of what transpired at that meeting.
Yes.
And you'll see there, briefly it explains that there was a meeting between you and the CI officer, where you indicated that you were going to give evidence before a departmental hearing, whereby
Yes.
Major General Khan is charged with misconduct. It is alleged that you then told these two men that the disciplinary hearing was a set-up, but that you were willing to change your testimony at the hearing in order to assist Major General Khan in winning the case. They inquired why you would do this, and you indicated that Mr. Mokhotsi would be in a position to assist you by utilizing his political influence to get you a promotion to a full colonel. It's also indicated that you said you also expected a bag in addition to that promotion. And then at the conclusion of this, there was an agreement that you will meet again to finalize this transaction. Right. Now, your version is that's not what happened. The two men came to you to entice you to change your testimony. Is that correct?
Yes, and further, Commissioner, I'd like to indicate that I'll say Brown Mokhotsi maybe misled the people who were doing the application because it's not truly the facts which really happened. It's him and the CI guy who informed me they need to fix things. They will arrange I get a promotion and get a bag.
All right. Now, if we go back now to the transcript, if you go to page 197, you will see there, that's where the transcript starts. When the recording started, there was a discussion about a Brazilian shop somewhere in Rivonia. And it seems Mr. Mokhotsi was on the phone and you inquired whether he was joining. And just to remind everyone that man 1 is you, man 2 is a CI officer, and man 3 is Mr. Mokhotsi. You'll see there, just towards the bottom of the page, so you'll see there's where man 2 starts and says, yeah. It starts there, sorry. Towards the foot of the bottom of the page, where man 1, where you start speaking in Sesotho, or man 2 says, introduce yourself. Can you see that? Maybe that's the easiest one to point you to.
Yeah.
Yes, you can see that. Man 2
Yeah.
says, introduce yourself. You respond and say, I don't know him. It's the first time I see him. Man 2 then says, he told me he was coming to meet someone, and then he asked me to come. Says, oh yeah. And then you respond and say, oh yeah, he brought you to me. And man 3 says, he brought me home. You then, the CI officer then says, talk to me, what's happening? Then you start and say, no, it was though and then it's inaudible, so I don't know, they told you why. Now, if you go to the next page, you'll see the explanation that you then give, and you say, And apparently he said there's someone who can assist us in this whole thing. Then it's inaudible. And then I said, okay, we'll go and discuss the condition. And then it's inaudible, and then you say, this one is safe. Let's just say it's a syndicate. Can you see that?
Yes.
And what it appears is that the CIO asks you what we are there for, and then you explain that somebody says you can assist with this whole thing. And then it starts. I don't want to go through the whole thing, but the gist of what happens is that you then explain that there's this disciplinary hearing coming up. You had a meeting with the employee rep, and the employee rep, you say, the way I was consulted with Khumalo, there is no chance or possibility. And then you say, I can't make sure from the evidence and the statement I made and the evidence you can overlook legally, right? And you then tell them that there's a plot against Khan. And then there's intermittently you speak about the problems within DPCI, and ultimately you eventually get to your conditions for changing your statement. And then you tell them that you need assistance with your promotion. And you complain about the promotion process within SAP, within TOMS. And then there's then the reference to the bag. And what it seems like is that you called them to a meeting, you explained to them what you have to offer, you told them their conditions, and they told you that they needed a statement. There was a whole discussion about whether a statement would suffice. Eventually it landed at writing to the minister in order to stop the hearing from happening, and there you will indicate to the minister that there was a plot against General Khan. And that's what the transcript of this meeting shows. This is then supported by the evidence, the statement from the CI officer, and it's also the testimony of Mr. Mokhosi.
Commissioner, can I just interject? Between this transcript, it seems like some of the things are not here. That's why I was insisting, I believe the recording has been contaminated. Or manipulated, as it is. Because it's not fully everything as is indicated here. It seems like there's a selective things which have been put in here.
Now, even accepting that the recording may be contaminated, you see what happens after that meeting is that a proper inquiry is then registered to entrap you. And that suggests that they were trying to undertake now a legitimate operation. Whereas on your version, after they tried to bribe you, as it were, you don't do anything, nor do you register an inquiry. Do you understand the difficulty with your version?
Yes.
And what's worse, outside of reporting it, you reported to one person who you say wasn't part of the meeting, and that person, there's no affidavit or anything that he has filed to corroborate your version. You acknowledge that?
I'll say it's because it was never asked. If it could have been asked, it could have been provided.
All right. Now...
And can
yes.
I continue?
Yes, you can.
And secondly, in respect of registering, remember as I told you that some of the things as you report them, they are being escalated further. Remember here, if I reported this, it's very much obvious that it was going to get to General Khan's attention that I intend entrapping his member about the meeting I had with him and Mr. Mkhotsi. And previously, I did have operations where I requested Section 252 authorization instantly on time of action, and I received verbal authorization and executed the operation. I think 2 or 3 operations I had where I requested authorization telephonically instantly when it's time to operate. And that was the plan again in this instance, so that I could secure arrest of the 2 people.
Now, Colonel, if you consider the application that was drafted in that regard, it was that verbal authorization that was sought. So you can get that quick authorization had you requested it, but you took no steps to do so.
Commissioner, as I indicated that previously I did get authorization verbal. Telephonically, I explain everything. They say once the operation is completed, do paperwork. It has happened.
So you mean for something else, not for this instance?
Yes.
Then I'm not sure how it helps your point.
It helps my point in that the intention I had is still surface in that if they phoned me back and said, let's meet after this day, I was going to initiate that telephonic request for authorization, and once received, I executed.
Just to note, there was an agreement to meet, and hence that's why they did this verbal authorization.
But they never came back to me.
Yes, but you had agreed to a meeting with them.
Yes.
In fact, I think there was even a date for a meeting.
No, Commissioner, they said they will come back to me, and they never came back to me. And I saw somewhere in the transcript, Mr. Mkhotsi allege I'm not around, I'm out of province. I mean, like, cross-reference could be made. I was in Pretoria the whole time.
You were in Pretoria the whole time?
Yes, that whole month.
Yeah. Well, Colonel, I'm going to put to you that your version is improbable. It's not supported by any external evidence. And in fact, we have at our disposal multiple statements from various people who have testified, including documentation and transcripts that show the opposite of what you're saying in relation to this meeting. Do you have a comment?
I will dispute that, Commissioner. I will dispute that.
Thank you, Colonel. Commissioners, there are other topics that the witness covered, but I don't intend to go into those topics with this witness.
Witness I, the same file on, it's file 2 on page 240. It says Colonel Steyn exhibit bundle. That's the same file you were dealing with now. Are you
Yes, 204.
Are you on page 240?
Yes, Commissioner.
You will see there that Advocate Chaskalson was leading the evidence of Brown Mkhotsi, and they were reading from paragraph 35 of his statement. That's in line 4.
Yes.
And it says, they are reading from the statement, in December 2024, Matlala referred me to a high-ranking police officer and I subsequently met him. I knew him as I had conducted an operation with him in the past. He shared information with me of the intention to craft a negative finding in respect of the disciplinary hearing against Major General Khan. So Madlanga says, Mokgotsi says it was Madlanga who referred him to you. Do you see that?
The question, Commissioner?
Say that again?
I'm asking, the question is, Commissioner?
So do you dispute that, what Mokgotsi said, that it was Madlanga who referred him to you, and that he subsequently met you? You don't dispute that?
Yes.
And then lastly, on page 242, they are continuing with Brown Mokgotsi's statement. Brown Mokgotsi says it was you who wanted money. So if you read from line 18, Mr. Mokgotsi says he spoke about something. He said, yes, he was talking about a bag. Maybe he implied cash, but he never said a bag of cash. Do you see that?
No, I dispute that,
Yes.
Commissioner.
And then later on, he says, it goes back to the chat that Commissioner Baloyi was referring you to, where Mokgotsi says the reason why he had to go back to Madlanga is because the person Madlanga had referred him to was asking for cash. Therefore, he needed to go back to Madlanga to tell him that you were asking for cash. And that's how it came about, that the discussion about Khan. That Khan must organize cash for you.
I'll dispute that. Maybe Mr. Mokgotsi wanted cash himself. Because me, what was asked was that I change a statement, the facilitator get a promotion and a bag. Maybe Mr. Mokgotsi, when he related to other people, he puts me in a picture which he is the one who's doing that. Because from what you are indicating to me, the only narrative I could make is that it's him, Mr. Mokgotsi, who wants it and displays it as if it's me. Because on the meeting, it's him and the CI guy who offered me a bag and a promotional post.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Witness I. You are excused.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, Ms. Bowen.
Chair, we are ready to commence with the next witness. We do have a application, though, from that witness that needs to be dealt with before. So, because we just need to set up the witness, we're just going to ask for a short indulgence just to test the sound and make sure that the witness is ready, and then we can commence.
We'll hear from you then. Let's adjourn.
Commissioners, as mentioned before the adjournment, we do have an application by Chief Mashaba to be heard in partial camera. Chief Mashaba is here, but we have set him up remotely for purposes of moving this application. And depending on the Commission's ruling, there'll be a decision about how we proceed. Chief Mashaba is also unrepresented. However, there is a short application before the Commission setting out his reasons. He is also online to explain his reasons.
Thank you. And I assume when you say partially in camera, as I understand the application, it's about him not being here physically, but his face being shown and just testifying remotely, but everything else.
Chair, I think we will have to get clarity on
Right.
whether or not he wants his face shown. However, it's not an anonymity in the sense of his name or anything.
All right. Good afternoon, Chief Mashaba.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Let's start perhaps right at the end. That is the issue I raised just now. Do you want your face not to be shown?
Not to be shown, sir. Chair.
All right, thank you. We have read your application. Can you please just state your basis very briefly on the understanding that we've read the application, but state why exactly you want to testify remotely and also in particular that your face not be shown?
Chair, thank you.
You
The reason
don't have to mention your medical condition. Yes.
Well,
By name. You don't have to mention it by name. Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, no. I am not well. Medically, I'm unfit. But I've seen it necessary that I physically come so that it mustn't give the commission an impression that maybe I'm running away or something like that. But I also wanted to, maybe the evidence leader, to see how I look so that she believes or he believes what I say. So I am not well, Chairperson.
You see what I want to, in fact, we want to get an idea of is if you can testify, you can speak from where you are. What's the difference between that and being here in this auditorium?
Well, if the chair see it fit, I can come. But
No, I'm asking, sorry, don't misunderstand me. I want you to explain at this stage. I'm not making a ruling. I just want you to explain. I want to understand what the difference is.
maybe rephrase the question, Chair.
I'm saying, you are saying
I can't hear, Chair.
you are saying you can testify from where you are. What I want to understand is why is it that you cannot testify in this auditorium?
Well, I'm struggling I've got a short breath and I'm struggling to also walk properly. Maybe that's the reason why I said I can. And I'm also coughing. So maybe that's the reason I said I cannot appear in this state.
Anything else, Chief Mashaba?
Other than that, no, there's no other reason, Chair.
Chief Mashaba, just so that we understand, you're seeking to testify your name. In your application, you didn't ask for your name not to be revealed. And in the application, you're also not asking that your face not be shown. So am I correct to understand your application as being you really are asking for a virtual hearing, that's all, instead of sitting in the,
Yes,
in the auditorium?
yes, Chairperson.
Okay, thank you.
Something I forgot, your medical certificate says, or rather, yeah, you are not well until 5 June 2026. Do you want to comment on that? Because ordinarily, if you were to make a request of this nature, perhaps we would, I hope I don't sound overly strict, we would have expected perhaps that you got another medical certificate going beyond 5 June. Do you want to comment on that?
I actually thought after being discharged on the 1st, I will then monitor my health. If I come right, I will then come. If I not by right, I would have went back to hospital. But because I think this is part of the reasons, maybe it's stressing this thing, I said I want to get it over and done with.
Oh, thank you, thank you. There's Chief Mashaba, Ms. Bowe.
Commissioners, the evidence leaders oppose this application for a number of reasons. The first is, as Chair has noted, the sick note doesn't cover the current period. And so as matters stand, we don't have anything from Chief's doctor asserting that he's unwell, except his say-so. The second is that the application itself is quite belated. Chief was subpoenaed on the 21st of May, hospitalized on the 25th of May, and discharged from the 1st of June. Thereafter, he informed us of his hospitalization and discharge. And it was only last night that Chief Mashaba approached us to tell us about potentially bringing this application. Moreover, the Commission, when approached by witnesses who have health reasons and need reasonable accommodations so that they are able to testify, we have done so, including having intermittent breaks for witnesses to be able to take medications or indicate if they are uncomfortable. And I see no reason why the same approach shouldn't be adopted with Chief Mashaba. He was well enough to come to the Commission. We can hear him clearly. He can present himself to the stand, and if necessary, and there's evidence to that effect, he can be excused or the testimony can proceed through other means.
Chief Mashaba, thank you, Ms. Bowe. Do you wish to respond to the submissions by Ms. Bowe?
Well, it was explained to me, Chair, that my application is late, but I still reiterate that if the Commission sees it fit, I can still come. Because I don't want to be seen as I want to maybe delay or I'm running away from the proceeding.
Thank you. Anything else?
No, maybe to save time of the Commission also, let me not go further. That's my submission for now.
Thank you, thank you. Chief Mashaba, let me start by thanking you for stating in so many words that despite your application and what you are asking for, you are otherwise prepared to come and testify in open session. Many thanks for that. It shows that you are not in the least trying to be obstructive, which indeed we cannot at this stage of the Commission's processes afford, because we have very little time. Many, many thanks for that. Unfortunately, we must dismiss your application, and you must testify in open session. We may sound a bit unsympathetic or not empathetic, but the view the Commission takes is that one, your medical certificate says that you are in a condition to, I think it uses the term work beyond the 5th of June 2026. There has been no updated medical certificate after that. Also, it sounds to us that you can speak, and you speak well, I would say, based on what we heard during your application. For those very brief reasons, we refuse the application, but importantly, let me say this. We were informed very informally that you may need some accommodation in terms of perhaps seeking breaks here and there, that is, breaks that are in intervals that are shorter than what we are accustomed to. I assure you that we will be very accommodative, and I also want to say to you that you should feel free to indicate if you want to ask for a break. That's the ruling. I assume we will have to adjourn again for the witness to
Yes, Chair.
to come in. Let us adjourn. You'll indicate when.
Thank you, Chair.
Ms. Sigels Ncube.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Commissioners, the next witness is Chief Mashaba. He has elected to take the oath.
Good afternoon, Chief Mashaba.
Good afternoon, Chair.
Do you please place your full names on record?
Samuel Tiane Mashaba.
Do you swear that the evidence you are going to give is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? If so, please raise your right hand and say, "So help me God."
So help me God.
Thank you, Chief Mashaba.
Thank you, Chair. Chief Mashaba, in front of you, I've put out your file with your witness statement that you prepared for purposes of your evidence today. If you could just go and check from page 1 and then go to page 12 and confirm that the signature on page 12 is your signature, please.
Yes, it's my signature.
And do you confirm the correctness of your statement?
Yes, I do, Chair.
Okay. Chief, how we're going to deal with it this afternoon is you will be given liberty to either read your statement or give your version of events insofar as the Ayrton drug bust is concerned and your involvement therein. If you feel more comfortable reading your statement, which is preferable, then please do so. We won't interrupt you, but we may ask clarifying questions. And then we will adjourn for the day, and tomorrow we will then do the cross-examination. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So if we can then proceed and start on page 1 of the documents, you can start on page. And again, as the chair said, if you do need a comfort break, if you can just give us an indication and we will oblige. Thank you.
Well, okay. Yes.
Please proceed on page 1, and you can start from paragraph 1, introduction, and just read from paragraph 1.
I, Samuel Tiani Mashaba, state the following under oath in English, that I'm an adult male traffic officer. I joined Gauteng Traffic Office in 2003 as a trainee in Buchenwald Kloof Traffic College in Pretoria West. In 2004, I again joined a provincial taxi violence task team. In 2006, I was then seconded to Premier's office as a supervisor. Correction, I omitted, as an acting supervisor, PPI, to form VIP escort unit, assisting the Premier's team, the President and the Deputy President's convoys. In 2013, I was then promoted to a Chief Provincial Inspector post at the Premier's office in charge of same teams, Premier, RSA 1 and 2. In 2018, I was politically and forcefully removed. I was even arrested and detained at Johannesburg Central, together with my 3 other colleagues. And the following day, the matter was not placed on the roll, and we were released. I was then suspended. Upon my reinstatement, I was transferred to Vereeniging Regional Office at as the head of the service point or region. In 2020, I was appointed as the Acting Deputy Director, CDUN District, Southern Corridor. The Ayrton drug bust.
Before you proceed to the Ayrton drug bust, what is your current position?
Chief.
And when were you appointed chief?
2013.
So you say in 2020 you were appointed as acting deputy director.
Yes.
But you say that now you're the chief. What is, I'm not following.
I was acting
Yes.
in 2020.
Oh, so you retained your permanent position as the chief, but you were appointed as the acting director.
I was a chief. I am a chief, appointed
13.
2013. In 2020, I was appointed as the acting. This is the next level after the chief.
Yes, that's why I'm asking, are you still now the acting deputy director or the permanent deputy director, or what is your title?
Maybe I can say I'm demoted. I'm still a chief.
Okay, so that was just your acting post in 2020, and you didn't get a permanent appointment. So your position now is back to what it was in 2013, before the, okay, thank
Yes.
you. You may proceed.
Ayrton drug bust. On Thursday, the 8th July 2021, I received a tip-off from Mr. Tumelonku of a truck traveling from Durban to Johannesburg, which was allegedly suspected to have drugs in its cargo. I then asked Mr. Nku to first confirm if the information was positive before I could act on it. On the following morning, February the 9th, July 2021, Friday, sorry, at about 5 o'clock a.m., I received a call from Mr. Nku, who confirmed that the information was positive and that I should come meet him at a certain place in Alberton. I then left the house to the agreed location, driving a silver grey State VW Golf 7, and I need to emphasize this, whereas it's not in the statement, that the information I got was that I need to be careful who to involve, because it involves senior law enforcement officials. So I met Mr. Nku, and he gave me a briefing on his information.
Sorry. This about not involving others, was it Mr. Nku who said this?
Yes, Chair.
All right, thank you.
I met Mr. Nku, and he gave me a briefing on his information and the truck in question. After the briefing, I decided to engage the process for intercepting the truck and to have it searched. I needed backup to conduct such a process, and it is in that regard that I sought assistance from other officers. I contacted Warrant Officer Pokungwani from Alberton Subs Detectives. I requested him to come and assist me. He indicated that he was not available as he had just got vaccinated. He also could not refer me to anyone else on duty at Alberton Subs. However, he gave me Warrant Officer Mahana's contact number to check if he could assist me. I then phoned Warrant Officer Mahane for assistance. He told me he could not assist at that moment. However, he did indicate that if I did not get assistance, I can check with him later on. I then phoned Lebo from PIU, Gauteng, who told me he doesn't have a motor car and could not assist as well. At about 15 to 20 minutes, I phoned Warrant Officer Mahane again for assistance. Fortunately, he was now available and he agreed to come to assist. I sent him my location, and within 30 minutes, he arrived where I was with Mr. Nku. He was driving his official vehicle, a Nissan NP300 Baki. I then introduced him to Mr. Nku, and after briefing him, Mr. Nku narrated the information again to Warrant Officer Mahane. He then decided we would go to the premises of Yellow Jersey Logistics, where the truck was allegedly parked. We then approached the premises and asked for a depot manager. After a short while, the manager came, to whom we introduced ourselves. we informed him that we wanted to conduct a search in one of the trucks in the premises. I remember him by his first name, Ardas. We gave him the exact container number, which we got from Mr. Nku, which we requested to search. He agreed and confirmed that the truck in question was still in the premises. He also advised that the truck was carrying the load for their customer, Scania, in Araten, where the truck would ultimately go. When we wanted to search the truck, Ardes told us that he would have a problem allowing us to break the seals at Yellow Jersey Logistics, as the customer might have an issue with that. I suggested that we escort the truck to the customer and let Ardes or his security escort us to confirm that we are not bogus cops. Ardes agreed. We were then accompanied or escorted by Yellow Jersey Logistics Security to Scania's office in Araten. As such, it was me, Warrant Officer Mahana in the black Nissan Baki, belonging to the state, Mr. Nku's BMW, as well as the Yellow Jersey Escort Baki that went with the truck to the Scania at Araten. We arrived in Araten at about 8 o'clock a.m. When we reached Scania, we introduced ourselves and explained to Scania employees the reason we were there. We then requested to see the manager. We then directed the truck be parked at the offloading bay. We, that's myself, Warrant Officer Mahane and Mr. Nku, parked about 80 meters from the truck where from the truck was parked. The person who introduced herself as a manager was Miss Jolene, who was also the recipient of the truck. Another person by the name of Cornelius also came. He's the one who gave instructions to the Scania workers to open the container. When the container opened, black bags started falling down. At that point, we realized that the tip-off was indeed correct. There were drugs in those bags. As the truck was still loaded with truck parts, we decided to bring the Nissan Baki driven by Warrant Officer Mahane next to the truck so that we can secure the exhibits and further search the container if there were more drugs other than what we could see. We loaded the fallen bags into Warrant Officer Mahane's black Nissan Baki, assisted by Scania employees. We directed that the truck further reverses onto the bay so that the forklift can drive in and offload the truck parts. I then informed both Jolene and the driver, Vusim Tembu, that I was placing them under arrest for possession of drugs. We then started to count all the bags to be 23 in number, and we placed them securely on the Baki. I was informed by Warrant Officer Mahana that he contacted Warrant Officer Pakula from National investigative unit to come help process the scene. While still waiting for Warrant Officer Pakula, private security and boys and subs van came in to where we were parked. The subs members found me standing with Warrant Officer Mahana outside waiting for Warrant Officer Pakula. They informed us that they got a complaint about bogus corps members. We then introduced ourselves to the two police officers, and they were satisfied with our identities. Thereafter, Warrant Officer Pakula arrived driving a red Kia Cerato. I went to meet with Warrant Officer. I went to meet him with Warrant Officer Mahana, and we briefed him, Warrant Officer Pakula, about what had happened. I also pointed to him that the driver whom I already placed under arrest. After getting the information, Warrant Officer Pakula requested to see the person who was receiving the cargo. I had him request Warrant Officer Mukhana to contact the photographer, which Warrant Officer Mukhana did through assistance of Boysen's subs members. Warrant Officer Pakula was busy obtaining a statement from Jolene when suddenly several police cars with officers started driving in. There was a lot of commotion, and we got the feeling that we were viewed with suspicion. I can say that there were instances of confrontation. One of the officers who had confrontation with Warrant Officer Pakula was later known as Warrant Officer Khotso, who was accompanied by Colonel Ndlela. However, Colonel Ndlela was happy with the success and congratulated us. Warrant Officer Khotso had a problem and started arguing with Warrant Officer Pakula. And his argument was that, why didn't we have an inquiry to effect an arrest, which Warrant Officer told him there was no time to open an inquiry. Then he said, Major General Khan of Crime Intelligence was on his way. Warrant Officer Pakula had earlier called members of the Provincial Dog Unit, K9, to come to the scene. They then arrived together.
Just don't mention the name.
The name of?
Yes, don't mention, just say at this point.
The first name on the third line of paragraph 20.
Yes. So the Lieutenant Colonel, don't mention that name.
Okay.
Sorry.
They then arrived together at this point. Then the captain I must mention.
Yes, the captain is fine.
Oh.
So can I just read it?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Perhaps the best would have been to make changes beforehand. Otherwise, what happened with the Sergeant
Previous.
Posse will happen here as well.
No, I think I get you. Can I proceed?
It only appears there for now. Yes, you may proceed.
Yes.
Captain Medupi also arrived. The dog unit members were ready to perform their duties. When General Khan arrived, he stopped them. Everything got out of hand. He did not ask for a briefing from us and simply did not want to listen to us. He went to other persons instead and got the version which he entertained. He was behaving like a man with all the powers and took charge of the scene. General Khan instructed Warrant Officer Mahane to sit in his buggy. Then that's where the altercation between me and General Khan began, when I confronted him and asked, why is he instructing Mahane to sit in his car, which looks like an arrest? General Khan also took me to where my car was parked. He then took my cell phone, searched my car for drugs, but there was nothing. He then took my service firearm and put it in the exhibit bag. He then called 2 TRT subs members to guard me, and I must stay next to my car. Meaning I was removed from the scene, and told me he wants to talk to my boss, Chief Director Advocate Tami Maisela. He then called Deputy Director Mandla Skonyani and asked if he knows me. The phone was on speaker. Mandla then agreed he knows me. Then General Khan asked to talk to my boss, Chief Director Advocate Tami Maisela. Then fortunately, my boss and Mandla Skonyani were together. And Mandla gave the Chief Director, Advocate Tami Maisela, the phone, still on loudspeaker. He inquired whether I'm still employed, suspended or fired at the department. My boss confirmed that I'm still an employee and asked Khan what is the problem. Khan responded that he found me on the scene of drugs in Ayrton. My boss said he doesn't care what I did. I must just be locked up. But then General Khan wanted to release me. I refused and said, if he releases me, he must release the other guys also. But if he arrests them, he must also arrest me. At this stage, there was chaos with a lot of police officers on the scene. Our success was hijacked from us by police officers who wanted to claim our success. Sorry, the only reason for them to claim success was by arresting us, and that is exactly what they did. At around 1:30, 13:30, we were arrested by DPCI Hawks team that came last at the crime scene. These were Brigadier Sekgobela, Colonel Stein, Colonel Maluleka, Captain Sibola, Captain Norkie. They arrested us and took charge of the scene. The driver, Vusim Tembu, Cornelius, and Miss Jolene, who were placed under arrest, were released, and the truck was not even taken to SIP 13. Excuse. After the arrest, we were taken to Boysens Police Station for detention, and was detained at around 19:30 until Monday, the 12th July 2021. To our surprise, we were treated very bad during detention in the cells, and we were told, as per General Kadwa's instruction, that we are not allowed to be visited, where the toilet was not even working, and nothing was allowed from our families outside. Food, toiletries, and water. We appeared at the Boysens Magistrate Court on Monday, the 12th July 2021 for bail. Still on Monday in court, our lawyer J.P. Fenter told us that the control prosecutor and his team were refusing to place the matter on the roll. Sorry. However, General Kadwa and Brigadier Sekgobela came to court and threatened them, his prosecutors and the lawyer, to enroll the matter. The case was then postponed to the next day, the 13th of July 2021. We were then remanded in custody for 7 days for a formal bail application. We were then transferred to Johannesburg Prison, Sun City. Our bail application was on the 21st of July 2021. During the bail application, Captain Sebola said we had been arrested for possession of allegedly 700 kg of drugs, cocaine. The magistrate in Westgate Court asked whether the drugs were weighed, and if so, which method was used, which he could not answer. Again, the magistrate suggested that our arrest was rushed or made prematurely. Again, Captain Sebola could not answer or rebut the suggestion. We were then granted bail. On our way from court, my supervisor, Director Pompi, served me with a letter of notice to suspend dated 20 July 2021. Copies of the events of suspension and disciplinary hearing to be attached. But until today, I don't know what is happening with my departmental case. I don't know whether it's still on or not.
Can I ask, Chief Mashaba, does that mean you are not back at work yet?
I am back at work, but I don't know how far is the case.
Okay.
Departmental.
So you were never suspended?
I was suspended.
Following this letter?
Yes.
And then you went back to work?
Yes.
Without any process? Without a disciplinary process or anything?
Disciplinary process was not followed.
Okay. Thank you.
Is the case that the period of suspension expired, and because it had expired, you had to go back to work?
Yes, Commissioner.
It's usually 3 months, right?
Yes, 90 days.
You may proceed.
Boysen's case 252, October 2021, defeating the ends of justice and obstruction of police officers from executing their duties, their lawful duties. The Boysen's case 252, 10/2021 case emanates from our arrest and detention by General Khan, Crime Intelligence General Kadwa, Brigadier Sekgobela, Captain Sibola, Captain Norkie, Colonel Stein, and the Gauteng DPCI team. That case was transferred to IPIT for further investigation. IPIT then took the matter to Director of Public Prosecutions in South Gauteng for a decision. Advocate Chauke decided not to prosecute the suspects in the matter, reason being it was just a misunderstanding among different law enforcement officers. This was surprisingly different from the reason or motivation given by the same Office of Advocate Chauke when we made our presentations for our case to be withdrawn. IPIT then recommended that all members involved in our arrest must be charged departmentally. However, General Khan was charged, whose hearing was presided by Lieutenant General Mkonazi, KZN Provincial Commissioner. General Khan was not found guilty. An impression was created that he was being victimized. Major General Kadwa of the DPCI and his team were not charged. During General Khan's hearing, the DPCI issued a report that all their members are cleared. At the same time, there was media reports that witnesses in the General Khan's hearing, that is us, were facing an immediate re-enrollment of their case. Our case has not been re-enrolled as reported. Our Boysen's case 98-07-2021 was provisionally withdrawn on the 12th of October 2022 and finally withdrawn by Advocate Zikok from NDPP in January 2024. In 2025-11-03, I lodged a grievance of unfair treatment, harassment, and victimization with our labor section. Again, it was ignored and remained unresolved. Copy of the grievance attached. In 2025, December, I was then moved to head office as the head of SLEU, Special Law Enforcement Unit. It's an undercover unit dealing with high priority crimes, internal affairs and anti-corruption, anti-fraud and corruption in the province, working with other law enforcement units, SAPS, DPCI and metros, etc. till date. I know and understand the content of the statement. I have no objection in taking the prescribed oath, and I consider the oath to be binding on my conscience.
Thank you, Chief. Is there anything else you want to add to your statement before we adjourn and finalize this part of your questioning?
Not that I can think of now.
Thank you, Chair.
Chief Mashaba,
Yes, Chair.
we will adjourn at this stage, resume at 9:30 tomorrow morning.
Okay, Chair.
You must not be late.
I can hear, Chair.
You must not be late.
I must?
Don't be
Not
late.
be late. Don't be late.
Okay.
Let's
All right,
adjourn.
Chair, I won't be.